Chapter 280. I really bought it as Sima Yu. Niu Hua looked at Sima Yu bitterly. Can I change it back? Sima Yu kept his fan and knocked the cowherd on the head, saying, once you've made your bet, you can't change it anymore. But I don't want to buy hers, said the Niu Hua. I have no choice. These are the rules. Sima Yu said helplessly, trust me, you'll definitely win if you bet on him. That's right, Niu Hua. You can't change your mind now. Someone at the side laughed. All right then. Niu Hua left the table rather disappointedly. Is there anything else you want to buy? Sima Yu asked again. After that, another person came and bought Sima Yu. In the end, there were only 2 people who bought Sima Yu. Really, it's all been profited by me, how can I accept it? Sima Yu said rather embarrassedly. He asked the other members of the Sima family to stand guard here while he walked to the side of the arena and said to Sima Yu, everyone doesn't think highly of you. Out of the 200 people, only 2 people placed their bets on you, and one of them accidentally placed his bets on you. You can't disappoint those 2. Everyone present was shocked by his words, but looking at the smile on his face, how could he be worried about losing miserably? Sima Yu and Li Mu had already noticed that he was the banker, so they didn't say anything and waited for him to place his bet. Hearing that only 2 people bought Sima Yu, Li Mu smiled proudly. This time, not only will you lose to me, you will also have to pay a large sum of money. Haha. Sima Yu dug her ears and said, what are you so proud of until the last moment? I'm waiting for you to call me big brother in the future. Humph, shameless boasting. Li Mu snorted. Today, Li Mu from the Holy City's Alchemist Union and Sima Yu from the Sima family will be having a competition here. I would like to invite everyone to be a witness. If Li Mu won, Sima Yu would be handed over to the Alchemist Guild and the Sima family would not be allowed to stop him. If Sima Yu wins, Li Mu will have to call her boss in the future. Whoosh, everyone was in an uproar. The other party actually dared to ask the people of the Alchemist Guild to call her boss. She was really audacious. How do you plan to compete? Someone below asked. Refining the same 4th grade pill, whoever has a higher grade and faster speed will be the winner. The host said, because it's getting late, everyone only has one chance. Let's begin. Li Mu took out his furnace and a table full of herbs. Seeing that Sima Yu had not moved, he mocked, don't tell me you don't even have herbs. If that's the case, then we don't need to compete. Sima Yu rolled her eyes at him. Taking out her furnace and herbs, she quickly started refining. All the alchemists present were shocked when they saw her smooth movements. They did not expect her to be so skilled. Maybe she really was a 4th grade alchemist. The little old man happened to be flying over Dragon Reflection Mountain and casually glanced down. He was immediately attracted by Sima Yu's techniques. He quietly landed on the mountain peak and quietly watched her refine pills. Refining a 4th grade pill was very easy for her as all the movements were done in one go. When she was done, Li Mu had not even finished fusing the pills. She gave a soft laugh and patted her furnace. A few pills flew up and were caught by her jade bottle. A rich medicinal fragrance immediately filled the arena. What a rich medicinal fragrance. Everyone closed their eyes to smell the fragrance of the pills. Those who knew their stuff said, such a rich medicinal fragrance, this pill's grade must not be low. It should be a 4th grade high-grade pill. I did not expect her to be so fast. It's even a high-grade pill. She's really not simple. Someone sighed. So you're saying that Li Mu lost? Everyone then remembered that the first person to succeed would win. Now that she had finished refining, Li Mu would lose. Pooh! When Li Mu saw that Sima Yu had successfully refined the pill, he panicked and did not control the fire properly. He directly wasted a batch of herbs. I actually failed. What a pity for these herbs. Sima Yu shook her head and sighed, since you didn't even manage to refine the pill, then you've lost this competition. Li Mu's expression was very ugly. He did not expect that he would actually lose. You're not even a fourth-grade alchemist. Li Mu said as he stared at the pill in Sima Yoyue's hand. If she was a fourth-grade alchemist, no matter how good her skills were, she would not be able to refine a fourth-grade pill in such a short time. Sima Yoyue smiled and said, I never said that I was a fourth-grade alchemist. The reason why I competed with you in refining a fourth-grade pill was because you could only refine pills of this grade. In the future, you have to call me Big Brother when you see me. Do you understand, little brother? You, don't go back on your words. Sima Yoyue interrupted him, there are so many witnesses here today. You can't keep your mouth shut even if you want to. You should just accept your loss. After she finished speaking, she turned around and left the arena. She left the small town with Bei Gong Tang and the others and returned to the small lake camp. After a while, everyone finally reacted. She had really defeated Li Mu. And from her last words, they could tell that she was not a fourth-grade alchemist. Her grade was even higher. A 22-year-old alchemist. Her grade is even higher than Li Mu's. She's really a god. Someone cried out in surprise. That's right. With this talent, even the younger generation in the Alchemist Continent's Central Union might not be able to compete with her. Aya, oh my god. Brat, what are you shouting about? We've lost all our bets. Damn, it's true. I bet that Li Mu would win. Me too. I've lost big this time. We all bet that Li Mu would win. Only those two fellows bet that Sima Yoyue would win. Look, they're still collecting money over there. Everyone looked towards the place where they had bet. Niu Hua and a middle-aged man stood in front of the table to collect their winnings. Hee, I never thought that I would win tens of gold coins by accident. Niu Hua happily took the gold coins and looked at them under the setting sun. Luckily I bet wrongly just now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to earn any more. The other man also took the gold coins and weighed them. He said happily, I have the rent for these 2 days. I told you that my family's you would definitely win. How is it? You didn't lose anything, right? Sima Yuyang said proudly. I didn't expect her to be so powerful. Niu Hua happily counted the gold coins in his arms. Everyone was stunned. They didn't think that the result would be like this. The money that they had bet just now was all gone. The little old man stood on the mountain. He was still thinking about Sima Yoyue's performance just now. His eyes flashed and he had an idea. Chapter 281. Book title, Chapter You Should Take Me as Your Teacher. Author Sima Yoyue's victory over Li Mu caused a huge reaction in Dragon Reflection Town, not only because many people lost a lot of money in the bet, but also because they were discussing how a 22-year-old alchemist had a higher rank than the 4th-level Li Mu. What kind of heaven-defying talent was this? Many people were guessing the reason why the Sima family had hidden her for so many years. Otherwise, why did they only know about her now? In the end, Sima Yoyue's matter was really dug out. What? Is she the child who caused the change in the Sima family 2 years ago? She came from the Dongchen Kingdom? Oh my god, she was only 19 2 years ago. He actually dared to cross the Sophia mountain range. I heard that the people around her are either alchemist or armament master. If not, they are beast tamer masters. This combination is too frightening. Sigh, comparisons are odious. Li Mu is the one who's depressed. In the future, I'll have to call her Big Brother whenever I see her. Huh, that's great. That's right. You've always been so arrogant. This time, you've fallen for it. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Sima Yoyue didn't care about the commotion she caused in Dragon Reflection Town. She returned to the campsite with the Sima family and rubbed her stomach. It was time to eat again. Sigh, I don't feel hungry when I'm cultivating, but as long as I'm not cultivating, I'll feel hungry when it's time. What kind of habit is this? She sighed. Oh you're already a celestial, yet you still like to eat so much. Suddenly, that gentle and loving voice sounded again, causing her to stop abruptly. What's wrong, Yoyue? Bei Gong Tang asked. Sima Yue felt her heart ache. She looked at Bei Gong Tang and said, "It's nothing. I just suddenly thought of someone." Yue, your sudden change in mood is very scary. Fatty Chu said. Is there? Aren't I fine? Sima Yue forced a smile. She took a deep breath and said, "Let's go. I'll make you guys something delicious tonight to celebrate our victory." All right. Sima Yue took a long time to cook a table full of dishes. The Sima family sat at 2 tables and ate happily. She was the only one who was staring at the dishes in a daze. Yu, these dishes are all your mother's favorite. Little Roar gnawed on a bone on the table as he transmitted his voice to her. Sima Yue looked at the dishes. She did not know why she suddenly wanted to cook today, but she had no appetite at all. Mother. She looked at the soup in the bowl and called out softly. Sima Yue was overflowing with sadness. Everyone was at a loss as they did not know what had happened to her. Aya, it smells so good. The little old man's voice broke the atmosphere and pulled Sima Yue back to reality. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a lean old man step into their array formation. Who are you? Sima Yuyang stood up and asked. I'm just a little old man. The little old man walked over and saw the table full of delicacies. His eyes shone. Sima Yue raised her head and saw the little old man. She cried out in surprise, Grandpa? Aya, so you're here. The little old man saw Sima Yue and walked over. He pulled Sima Yue up and sat down. He took out a pair of chopsticks and put a piece of meat into his mouth. Sima Yue did not have time to react before he was pulled up. He was about to speak when Sima Yue shook her head at him and asked him to go to the next table. Grandpa, what are you doing here? The little old man threw the bone that he had finished eating behind him, saying, I saw your competition with others. I didn't expect you to be so good at alchemy. After that, I went to other places and came back to the town to look for you. I didn't expect you to be here. Look for me? Sima Yue blinked her eyes and looked at him, asking, Grandpa, why are you looking for me? I just wanted to ask who your master is. Your method of alchemy is very special. It doesn't seem like an ordinary person's. The little old man said. I don't have a master. I just happened to come across some methods of alchemy. Sima Yue replied. The little old man glanced at her and did not continue. He focused all his attention on the food. If his disciple saw this, he would definitely scold him for being a glutton. Yue, who is this? Sima Yuyang asked. This is the grandpa I met today. Sima Yue said. It's fine. Everyone, continue eating. The little old man had eaten many good things in the upper realms before. However, compared to the food this time, it paled in comparison. He looked small and skinny, but his appetite was shocking. Almost half of the food on the table went into his stomach. This taste is really good. Who made it? After eating and drinking to his fill, he patted his bulging stomach and asked. I made it. Sima Yue said, Grandpa, you look so small. How can you store so many things? You made it? Are these all? The little old man asked. Not all of them. Bei Gong and the others made many for us. Sima Yue said. Not bad, not bad. The little old man nodded. Grandpa, I still don't know how to address you. She asked. Everyone calls me Old Man Devil. The little old man said. You're from the Devil clan? Sima Yue asked in surprise. No, how do I look like a devil? The little old man said angrily. You don't. You don't. Sima Yue smiled flatteringly and asked, Grandpa Devil, when will you refine the 3-yuan pill? Why? The little old man took out a toothpick and put it in his mouth. Hee, I'm just curious. I've never seen anyone refine the 3-yuan pill. Sima Yue said, Grandpa Devil, this 3-yuan pill is very complicated. Do you need someone to help you? You want to help me? Old Man Devil glanced at her. Sima Yuyue nodded and looked at him with a smile. I'll make more good things. They'll taste better than these. You just want to watch me refine pills. Old Man Devil pointed out Sima Yuyue's motive. Yes, Grandpa Devil, do you agree? Sima Yuyue did not deny it. You'll make more good things for me? The little old man asked. If you agree, of course I will. Sima Yuyue said. But I don't usually let outsiders watch me refine pills. Old Man Devil said, why don't you be my disciple? With your talent, you're barely qualified to be my disciple. Ah. Sima Yuyue was stunned. Be your disciple? What? I'm a 9th grade alchemist and I'm not enough to be your master. Old Man Devil said. No. Sima Yuyue hurriedly denied. I just think that we've only known each other for a day. Isn't it a little too fast for me to be your disciple? I only accepted you as my disciple because I like you. So many people want to enter my divine Devil Valley but can't. Old Man Devil said. Bei Gong Tang, who was sitting at the side, suddenly raised her head and said in shock, Divine Devil Valley. Chapter 282. Sima Yuyue saw Bei Gong Tang's reaction and asked, is the Divine Devil Valley very powerful? Of course. Old Man Devil said, if not, why would so many people want to go to my Divine Devil Valley? I've never been there. How would I know if he's good or not? Sima Yuyue said. Under the table, Bei Gong Tang stretched out her hand and pulled on the corner of her clothes, blinking her eyes at her. Bei Gong Tang wanted her to agree. Sima Yuyue looked at Old Man Devil and said, isn't it not worth it to sell yourself just to watch an alchemy? Grandpa Devil, is there any benefit in becoming your disciple? Is there a gift for the apprenticeship? Old Man Devil stared at Sima Yuyue. Bei Gong Tang, who was at the side, was scared to death. She was afraid that he would get angry and do something to Sima Yuyue. However, she did not expect that he would laugh out loud. Ha ha ha, everyone else wants to be my disciple, yet you're asking me if I have a gift for you to be my disciple? I like your personality. You have the same style as me when I was young. Hearing his words, Bei Gong Tang finally relaxed. At least he wouldn't hurt Yuyue. Do you have it or not? Sima Yuyue asked. What kind of gift do you want? Old Man Devil asked. Just give me any heaven and earth treasure. Even divine-level spiritual weapons are fine. Sima Yuyue said. Cough cough dash, Bei Gong Tang was almost choked to death by her words and violently coughed twice. Good lad, your demands aren't low. Old Man Devil said, as long as you promise to cook for me often in the future, I will definitely give you a gift as my apprentice. You didn't say that you were going to give me a gift for becoming your disciple. Sima Yuyue muttered softly, but her voice was heard by Wei Ziqi and the rest. I can't think of anything to give you right now. When you go to the Divine Devil Valley, you can go to the storeroom and choose for yourself. Old Man Devil said. All right, thank you, Master. Sima Yuyue stood up and bowed to Old Man Devil. She then picked up the teacup on the table and offered him a cup of tea. You little brat, you actually used this kind of tea to brush me off. Old Man Devil glared at him. Sima Yuyue giggled as she stuffed the teacup into Old Man Devil's hands and said, Master, just put up with it for a while. We can't pay attention to formalities. You have to see my feelings for you. If you have a good heart, it doesn't matter if the ceremony isn't good. If you don't have a good heart, even if we have a peerless ceremony, it's useless, right? Huh, you little brat, you're quite insightful. Old Man Devil took a sip of his tea, showing his approval. Of course. Sima Yuyue sat back down and said, I don't usually acknowledge a master easily. Once I acknowledge a master, I will naturally treat him differently. As the saying goes, a teacher for a day is a father for life. This is not a joke. Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yuyue and saw the sincerity in her eyes. She didn't seem to be lying at all. Suddenly, he felt a trace of emotion in his heart. That disciple who had made his heart bleed for so many years had also said something similar. So many people wanted to acknowledge him as a master, but how many of them had the same thoughts as the two of them? "Master, what's wrong?" Sima Yue asked when she saw him like this. Cough cough, nothing. Old man devil concealed his feelings and said, "I've already given you a gift for acknowledging me as your master." "What gift are you going to give me?" Isn't it always the master who gives the disciple a gift? Why is there a disciple who gives the master a gift? Sima Yue widened her eyes. Old man devil said unhappily, "Who said that the disciple can't give the master a gift?" "No way, you have to give me a gift as well. Didn't you say that the Divine Devil Valley is very powerful? Why do you still want me to give you a gift?" Sima Yue said, "How about this, I'll give you a gift after I think about it. Otherwise, what if you don't like it?" "All right." Old man devil replied with a smile. Old man devil left not long after, saying that he would bring her to refine pills the next day. Once he left, Bei Gong Tang heaved a sigh of relief and said happily, "Yue, congratulations, you actually managed to acknowledge Old Man Devil as your master." "Bei Gong, do you know about the Divine Devil Valley?" Sima Yue asked. Bei Gong Tang nodded. The Divine Devil Valley doesn't have as many members as the other sects and clans. However, they have an extremely high position in the upper realm. This Old Man Devil is very famous in the upper realm. Although I had my suspicions at first, I had never seen him before, so I thought that it was someone with the same name in the Yilin continent. Only when I heard about the Divine Devil Valley did I know that it was really him. Is Master's reputation very big? Sima Yue asked. That's right, the Divine Devil Valley has two Valley Lords. One is called Old Man God, and the other is called Old Man Devil. Bei Gong Tang said. So you're saying that my master is one of the two Valley Lords? Sima Yue was surprised. She didn't think that the other party would have such a strong background. Why is he called Old Man Devil? Because his personality is a little weird. Some people say that he kills without batting an eye, like a devil. Bei Gong Tang said, however, I've heard my father and aunt talk about it before. They said that it's actually because the Divine Devil Valley has always had two Valley Lords. The Devil Valley Lord's personality is a little weird, but he's not the kind of devil who kills people. Sima Yue rubbed her chin and said, I didn't feel a strong murderous aura from Master. If he kills people often, his body will emit an endless amount of murderous intent. So if you can enter the Divine Devil Valley, you'll have an extremely strong backer when you go to the upper realm. Bei Gong Tang said. Didn't you say that there aren't many people in the Divine Devil Valley? How can they be so powerful? Sima Yue didn't understand. Because the Divine Devil Valley is filled with capable people. Bei Gong Tang said, look at the Alchemist Guild now. Just one profession is already very powerful. However, the Divine Devil Valley has gathered alchemists, armament masters, beast tamer masters, array masters, and the most powerful people in each profession are in the Divine Devil Valley. Do you know of the Sage Pavilion? Sima Yue nodded. Because of Wu Lingyu, Little Roar had told her about the Sage Pavilion. She knew how powerful it was. Even the people from the Sage Pavilion don't dare to offend the Divine Devil Valley. They have to treat them with respect. Now do you know what kind of power you've entered? Bei Gong Tang said. Sima Yue was so shocked that her mouth opened wide. She actually entered such a place. Furthermore, she was the disciple of one of the Valley Lord. Could it be that she was really lucky? Master said that he can refine 9th ranked pills. Is his rank the highest? She asked. No, it said that there are many old monsters. Their ranks are even higher, but they usually don't come out. Bei Gong Tang said. There are all kinds of professions. Sima Yue rubbed her chin and laughed, saying, I've thought of what kind of gift I should give him. Yue, what are you thinking of doing? Bei Gong Tang saw her smile and felt that it was a little scary. I'm preparing to give my master a gift. Sima Yue pulled Bei Gong Tang up, saying, "Let's go. We'll rest today. We'll do it tomorrow." Chapter 283. The next day, Old Man Devil made a rare return to the Saint City. Although many people in the Sage Pavilion had never seen him before, they knew that the Holy Son of the Upper Realm had brought his master along with him. They couldn't see through his powers, so they guessed his identity. Stinking brat. Old Man Devil came to Wu Lingyu's courtyard and shouted at the top of his lungs. Wu Lingyu was just telling the Sage Pavilion's pavilion master that he wanted to go out and take a look at the situation of the continent. When he heard his master's voice, he smiled at the pavilion master and walked out. Seeing Old Man Devil sitting on the roof, he asked, "Master, where have you been for so long?" "I walked around." When Old Man Devil saw Wu Lingyu's holy aura, he waved his hand and said, "I have something to discuss with you." The Sage Pavilion's pavilion master had been to the upper realm before and naturally knew how powerful Old Man Devil was. He said to Wu Lingyu, "Since the Holy Sun has something to discuss with your master, I will go back first." "Okay." The holy smile on Wu Lingyu's face remained unchanged. The pavilion master cupped his hands towards him, then bowed towards Old Man Devil before leaving the courtyard. Once everyone from the Sage Pavilion had left, Wu Lingyu leaned against the door and looked at Old Man Devil absent-mindedly. "I say, old man, you disappeared the moment you came down. What do you have to say to me now?" "I found a junior brother for you." Old Man Devil's words drew Wu Lingyu's attention back to the present. He raised his eyebrows and said, "There's actually someone on this continent that you're interested in? When did they meet? How did you trick him into coming here? What are you talking about?" Old Man Devil glared at Wu Lingyu. "I recognized her directly. She has already given me the gift of becoming her disciple. It's rare for someone to catch your eye. There are so many outstanding people in the upper realm who want to be your disciple, yet you insist on coming here to pick one." Wu Lingyu said, "Didn't you want to choose a successor? How many years would it take for the people from this continent to go up there? Can you wait until then? You stinking brat, are you cursing me to have a short life?" Old Man Devil roared. Wu Lingyu dug his ears to indicate that he was shocked by his voice. "I'm not cursing you. I'm just telling the truth." Wu Lingyu shrugged. "If it weren't for the fact that you refused to come back no matter what, would I have to look for someone else?" Old Man Devil looked at him resentfully. "It was Martial Uncle who asked you to choose a successor. How can you blame it on me? You have such high standards that you don't like those people. That's why you dragged it out until now." "Oh right, how old is my junior brother?" "Rumor has it that he's almost 22 years old. I think there's still a little more than 2 months left." Old Man Devil had heard the discussions of those people on Dragon Reflection Mountain. Only 22 years old, so young. How high is his grade? Can he concoct level 3 medicinal pills? What are you talking about? Is my taste that bad? Of course my choice wouldn't be bad. Old Man Devil said proudly. Even if his innate talent isn't bad, don't forget his character. If he can't pass the Divine Devil Valley's test, even if he becomes your disciple, he won't be able to become your successor. Wu Lingyu reminded. His character is naturally good. You'll know when you see him today. Old Man Devil said. I'm not going, I don't have time. Wu Lingyu rejected directly. How can you not have time? Old Man Devil didn't believe him. I want to go to Sophia Mountain Range. Wu Lingyu said. He had already decided that he would go to Dongchen Kingdom today to look for that little girl. No way, you have to come with me. The little old man said, and you have to prepare a greeting gift. I'm not going. Wu Lingyu rejected. If you don't go, you'll what? I'll die for you to see. Then you go, I won't stop you. You heartless stinking brat. Are you trying to anger me to death? If you anger me to death, you won't have to die. In the end, Wu Lingyu couldn't argue with Old Man Devil and followed him to see his so-called little junior brother. When he saw his little junior brother, he was extremely glad that he came, otherwise, he didn't know how long it would take for him to see the person he missed dearly. Sima Yuyue was cooking because Old Man Devil said that he would be back for dinner at night. My good disciple, is the food ready? The little old man and Wu Lingyu landed by the lake and shouted. The Sima family knew that Sima Yuyue had become his disciple. They heard that he was a very powerful person from the upper realm, and they all respectfully called him Grandpa Devil. Master, you're here so early, I haven't finished cooking yet, you have to wait for a while. Sima Yuyue was busy cooking. When she turned around and saw the person behind Old Man Devil, she was stunned. It's you. Her surprise turned into anger, and she immediately threw the spatula in her hand at him. Wu Lingyu stretched out his hand to catch the spatula, saying, Little junior brother, is this how you treat your senior brother? Seeing that Sima Yuyue wasn't in a good mood, that pair of angry eyes were still so lively, and seeing her reaction when she saw him, it meant that she hadn't forgotten about him after so many years. The Sima family all stared with wide eyes. Why was this Yuyue so angry? She even threw the spatula. TSK, there was a secret. Old Man Devil also didn't expect this to happen, saying, Stinky brat, you know Yuyue? Not only do we know each other, we even lived together for a period of time. Wu Lingyu said. Bei Gong, come here. Sima Yuyue said. Bei Gong Tang took out a spatula and stood at her position to continue cooking, but her attention was always on Yuyue. Sima Yuyue walked over and came to Old Man Devil's side, saying, Master, he's your disciple, my senior brother? That's right, when did you live together for a period of time? Old Man Devil asked. When he mentioned that they lived together for a period of time, Sima Yuyue remembered how he played her in circles. She immediately opened her palm and attacked Wu Lingyu, ignoring the Devil's Snare Bracelet's reaction when she saw Wu Lingyu. You're not allowed to use spiritual energy. Sima Yuyue knew that if she used spiritual energy, she definitely wouldn't be Wu Lingyu's opponent, so she shouted. Since little junior brother wants to play, then I'll play with you. Wu Lingyu smiled as he dodged Sima Yuyue's attack. One chased, the other dodged, and occasionally fought back. But no matter what, Sima Yuyue couldn't hit Wu Lingyu. Stop right there. Sima Yuyue shouted when she saw that she was so tired that she couldn't hit him. Wu Lingyu also stood still obediently. Sima Yuyue struck out with her palm, but he caught her hand and pulled her into his embrace. Because they were chasing, they were already a little far from the campsite. When Wu Lingyu pulled her, his back was facing the crowd, so even if the two were in an ambiguous position, the people by the lake couldn't tell. You bastard, let go of me. Sima Yuyue shouted angrily. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yuyue, lowered his head and bit her ear, saying softly, Woman, you've really grown up. After so many years, have you ever thought of me? Chapter 284. Hearing Wu Lingyu whispering in her ear and even biting her ear, Sima Yuyue stomped her feet in anger. But he couldn't beat him, so the anger in his heart burned even brighter. Ah! Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yuyue, who was biting him with her head lowered, and a smile flashed in his eyes. Little junior brother, a gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. How could you bite me? He tilted his body slightly and happened to present the scene of Sima Yuyue biting him for everyone to see. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Sima Yuyang rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Yu actually bit people. Sima Yuqing was stunned as well. The Sima family couldn't believe what they were seeing. Sima Yuyue was a pervert in their eyes, but she couldn't beat Wu Lingyu and was even forced to bite him. At the same time, everyone was also curious as to what kind of grudge she had against him for her to attack him the moment she saw him. Old Man Devil also looked over in surprise. However, he was surprised that Wu Lingyu was willing to let Sima Yuyue get close to him. He didn't even get angry when she bit him. This brat, he's never been so tolerant of me, his master. His sour tone revealed his current mood. Sima Yulin looked at the two of them and frowned. Sima Yuyang took out his fan, opened it and fanned himself, saying, Yu is like this, it's really rare. After Old Man Devil confirmed that the two of them would be fine, he turned his attention to the food. Well, this kid is right. The food she made today is even more delicious than yesterday's. Grandpa Devil, you use culinary skills aren't just for show. Now that you've taken in such a disciple, let's not talk about her talent for now. You'll be more fortunate than anyone else in the future. Sima Yuran said as he sat opposite Old Man Devil. Not bad, not bad. Old Man Devil was very happy that he had found such an obedient disciple. He had put a lot of effort into making these things. Bei Gong Tang finished cooking and placed it on the table. Old Man Devil took a bite and said, "The taste is a bit worse than Yoyue's, but it's much better than other people's." "Thank you, Grandpa Demon, for your praise." Bei Gong Tang smiled as she went to cook the remaining dishes. When Sima Yuyue and Wu Lingyu returned, Old Man Devil was almost done with his meal. "Master, you didn't say that your eldest disciple was him." She sat down beside Old Man Devil and began to complain. Old Man Devil took out a toothpick and stuffed it into his mouth, asking, "Does it matter?" "It's very important." Sima Yuyue was extremely depressed. "I have a grudge against him. Now that we're brothers, I'm going to suffer from internal injuries. Then you can find him to vent." Old Man Devil didn't care at all. "But I can't beat him." Sima Yuyue felt wronged. "You can use poison to poison him," Old Man Devil said. "He said that normal poisons can't kill him because you always give him those useless things." Sima Yuyue said. "That's true. This brat has already been trained by me to the point that he's almost immune to all poisons." Old Man Devil nodded. "Then you can create a different kind of poison." "I don't have that ability yet." "No problem, just learn from Master," Old Man Devil said confidently. "I guarantee that you'll be able to poison him in the future." "But that's in the future," Sima Yuyue said. "My heart is filled with anxiety right now." "Then you can bite him again," Old Man Devil said. "Brat, come here." Wu Lingyu walked over and said, "Old man, what's up?" He wasn't deaf. Naturally, he heard Old Man Devil giving Sima Yuyue a bad idea. "Let your little junior take another bite," Old Man Devil said. "Master, you've only known little junior for 2 days. How can you be so biased?" Wu Lingyu wouldn't go over. Seeing Sima Yoyue's angry little face, he said, "You already bit me just now. Are you still angry?" As he said that, he rolled up his wide sleeves. 2 rows of teeth marks appeared right in front of everyone. Sima Yuyue had used a lot of strength. The 2 rows of teeth marks had already seeped into his flesh. Traces of blood seeped out. "Wow, Yuyue, you're still the best. You've only just met him and you've already made him bleed. Not bad, not bad." Old Man Devil saw the teeth marks on Wu Lingyu's hand and smiled as he patted Sima Yoyue's shoulder. "I haven't even bitten off a piece of flesh." Sima Yuyue was still unsatisfied with her masterpiece. "Sigh, I originally wanted to specially prepare a gift for our first meeting with little junior. Looking at you now, I don't think you want it." Wu Lingyu sighed and said. "If it's a treasure, I'll take it. If it's not a treasure, I won't take it." Sima Yuyue said, "Let me take a look first. I'll decide if I want it or not." "But you're still angry at me," Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yuyue glared at him and said, "If your gift is passable, then forget it. If it's not good enough, then we'll continue. Give it to me." Wu Lingyu smiled as he took out a box and threw it to Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue caught it and opened it. There was a piece of clothing that was as light as wings inside. "Wow, wow, wow, you're actually giving the divine cicada clothing to her." Before Sima Yuyue could say anything, Old Man Devil shouted first. "Master, what's this?" Sima Yuyue asked when she saw how agitated Old Man Devil was. "This is a divine tool. When I asked him to give it to my friend's granddaughter, he refused no matter what. He didn't give me any face at all. Now that he's giving it to you, it hurts my heart too much." Old Man Devil howled. "Divine tool?" Sima Yuyue took out the clothing and looked at it. It looked a little like an inner garment, but the material looked a little like silver fish. I've heard people say before that the divine cicada clothing was fought over by various large sections. It was auctioned off at a shocking price. It's a good treasure. Bei Gong Tang said. If Bei Gong says it's a good treasure, then it's a treasure. All right, I'll reluctantly accept your gift. Sima Yuyue said as she kept the item. Divine tools were still relatively rare now. Taking one would be a good thing. Since you've accepted my gift, you're not allowed to bite me in the future. Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Humph. Sima Yuyue ignored him. Disciple, have you prepared my gift for becoming your disciple? Old Man Devil asked. Of course I've prepared it. Sima Yuyue said. What is it? Old Man Devil was really looking forward to it. It had been a long time since someone had given him a gift. Of course, those who needed his help didn't count. Sima Yuyue stood up and walked behind Bei Gong Tang. She said to Old Man Devil, Master, what do you think of Bei Gong? Not bad. Why? Now it's popular to buy things one get one free. Since you've accepted a disciple, you should do the same. Take Bei Gong as well. Sima Yuyue said with a smile. What? You want me to accept another disciple? Old Man Devil didn't expect Sima Yuyue to have such a plan. He shook his head. No, I don't want to accept so many disciples. It's enough that I have you two to play with. Chapter 285. Yuyue. Bei Gong Tang also did not think that Sima Yuyue would say this and was shocked. Sima Yuyue patted her shoulder and said, Master, Bei Gong's talent in alchemy is also very good. You won't lose out if you take him in as a disciple. That won't do either. Old Man Devil shook his head. Master, she is a good seedling. Do you want to miss this opportunity? Sima Yuyue continued to persuade him. Junior brother, Master only has the two of us as his disciples in his entire life. He's afraid of trouble. It's basically impossible for him to accept another disciple. Wu Lingyu knew Old Man Devil very well. If he didn't need a disciple to be his successor, he probably wouldn't have even accepted Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue was a little disappointed. She really wanted to recommend Bei Gong Tang to the Divine Devil Valley. This way, when they went up, Bei Gong Tang would have more confidence in saving her mother and brother. Old man, you can't accept her as a disciple, but you can recruit her into the valley. Wu Lingyu did not want to see Sima Yuyue disappointed and continued. Really? Sima Yuyue's eyes lit up when she heard that. She looked much more energetic. Master, can I? I can, but I want to see how her innate talent is. Not everyone can enter the Divine Devil Valley. Old Man Devil said. Sure. Sima Yuyue smiled and said, Bei Gong won't disappoint you. Then you should refine the highest ranked pill that you can currently refine. Old Man Devil said to Bei Gong Tang. Bei Gong Tang was stunned for a moment, then stood up excitedly, saying, okay. She took out the pill furnace and medicinal ingredients, took a deep breath, calmed herself down, and began to refine the pill. Old Man Devil realized that Bei Gong Tang's method of refining pills was the same as Sima Yuyue's, and asked, did she learn from the same master as you? Definitely. She and Ouyang Yang were both taught by me. Sima Yuyue said, how is it, Bei Gong isn't bad, right? She's indeed much better than those guys in the valley. Old Man Devil rarely praised someone. Sima Yuyue was extremely happy. That meant that Bei Gong Tang could enter the Divine Devil Valley. Master, I heard that our Divine Devil Valley has all kinds of occupations. Why don't you take them in too? Sima Yuyue pointed at Wei Wei and Fatty Chu, Wei. Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yuyue blankly. Did she want to bring them into the Divine Devil Valley? During the day, they already knew the position of the Divine Devil Valley in the upper continent. If they could enter, that would be the best. Old head Yuyue, this brat Yuyue, this. Sima Yue quickly smiled flatteringly, saying, Master, I grew up with them. I've been living with them since I was 15. Since the Divine Devil Valley is so powerful, I naturally want them to enter. Master, please help me. Old Man Devil didn't expect her to be so honest, and asked, what skills do they have? Zi Qi can already tame divine beasts, Fatty Chu can refine saint tools, Ouyang Yang and Bei Gong Tang are equally good at refining pills. Yu Lin is an array master. Sima Yue replied, how is it, master, can you let them in too? Sima Yulin, who was standing in front of his tent, heard her call out his name. His gaze wavered, and he lowered his head to hide his emotions. Brat, you know a lot of people. Old Man Devil said, I can give them a chance. Whether or not they can enter the Divine Devil Valley will depend on their strength. Just a chance. Sima Yue was not satisfied, saying, can't you let them in directly? You brat, even if I let them in, it's useless if they don't have a valley willing to accept them. Old Man Devil said. Junior brother, don't worry. With Master's suggestion, as long as their talents are passable, there won't be a problem. Wu Lingyu said, those martial uncles have lower requirements for these kinds of people. Alright then, having a chance is better than having no chance at all. Sima Yue did not force Old Man Devil, saying, but Ouyang Yang and Bei Gong Tang are both alchemists. Master can make the decision, right? If he's like what you said, there's no problem. But let me take a look first. Which one is he? Old Man Devil asked. He's from the South Eclipse Kingdom. He hasn't come yet. He'll come when the gathering starts. At that time, Master will assess him. Sima Yue said. After speaking, she looked at Wu Lingyu, grateful that he spoke up for her. Old Man Devil took out 4 tokens and threw them to Sima Yue, saying, give them to them. When the time comes to go up, take this to the Divine Devil Valley. There will naturally be people who will test them. Sima Yue happily threw the tokens to Wei Zi Qi and Fatty Chu, then ran in front of Sima Yue and handed the tokens to him. Here. Sima Yue looked at the smile on Sima Yue's face and took the tokens, saying, thank you, Yue. You don't have to be so polite. Sima Yue said with a smile, we're family. After speaking, she returned to Old Man Devil's side and chatted happily with him as they watched Bei Gong Tang refine pills. Bei Gong Tang only managed to successfully refine the pill in the middle of the night. She placed the refined pill in front of Old Man Devil. Old Man Devil glanced at it and took out a token for her, saying, this is the disciple's identity token. Wait till you go up and reach the Divine Devil Valley, then you can see who you want to be apprenticed to. Thank you, Grandpa Devil. Bei Gong Tang smiled as she kept the token. She was extremely moved and smiled gratefully at Sima Yue. She had actually become a disciple of the Divine Devil Valley. This was something that she had never dared to imagine before. Master, why don't I have a token? Sima Yue asked. I only have a disciple's token and I gave it to him. I haven't had time to make yours. When we go back, I'll get someone to make one for you. Old Man Devil said. Wu Lingyu took out a token and threw it to her, saying, I'll give you mine first. Then what do you use? Sima Yue asked as she caught the token. Senior brother, my face is the token. Wu Lingyu said narcissistically. Sima Yue thought that it was true. He often went in and out of the Divine Devil Valley and everyone knew him. Hence, she accepted the token with a clear conscience. This is the gift you prepared for me to become your disciple? Old Man Devil said. How could I? Since she had achieved her goal, Sima Yue took out a jade bottle and handed it to Old Man Devil. You're giving me a pill? Old Man Devil raised his eyebrows. Giving a pill to a pill master required more than just a little bit of guts. Master, take a look first. Sima Yue said while giggling. Old Man Devil saw her confident look and took the jade bottle. He opened it and sniffed. His eyes lit up and he impatiently poured out the pill. Spirit recovery pill. Even he was extremely surprised at this moment. He never thought that Sima Yu would actually give him such a pill. Chapter 286. The Spirit Recovery Pill, as its name implied, was a pill used to recover one's consciousness. Its grade was not very high, but it was quite rare because the ingredients required were quite harsh. Among them, the most difficult one was the main ingredient, the earth dragon marrow. However, this wasn't a problem for Sima Yu. She didn't have the earth dragon marrow, but she had the soul fluid, which was even more heaven-defying than the earth dragon marrow. Using it to replace the earth dragon marrow was not a problem at all. Master, I failed 7 times today. I only succeeded with Bei Gong Tang's help. How is it? Can I still impress you? Sima Yu looked at Old Man Devil's shocked face with satisfaction. Old Man Devil kept the pill and said, "Why would you want to give me this pill?" Bei Gong said that you were once injured and injured your divine sense, causing you to be unable to refine pills to the next level. Furthermore, you even turned into this old man. That's why I wanted to refine such a pill for you. However, with my current strength, I still can't refine a 6th-grade medicinal pill. I don't have enough spiritual energy, so every time I try to condense the pill, I fail at the last step. Fortunately, Bei Gong and I had a tacit understanding, and the two of us worked together to refine this pill. However, we only succeeded in refining 1 pill. Her alchemy level could already reach the level of a 6th-grade alchemist, but because of the restriction of her strength, she had always been at the peak of 5th-grade alchemy. Today, refining this spirit recovery pill really took some effort. You're considerate. Old Man Devil said, then looked at Bei Gong Tang. You came down from above, right? Yes, Grandpa Demon. Bei Gong Tang nodded. Bei Gong clan? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Bei Gong Tang replied. Her tone was a little stiff, and her gaze carried traces of hatred. Old Man Devil immediately understood many things and said, the Bei Gong clan's younger generation doesn't have anyone as talented as you. They've lost a treasure. Master, I added some scarlet honey into it when I was refining it. It is said that this thing can not only increase one's strength, but it can also make one stay young for a long time. Sima Yu said. Scarlet honey? You have scarlet honey? Old Man Devil's attention was immediately drawn over. Yeah, why is Master so excited? Sima Yu asked when she saw Old Man Devil's excited expression. How did you get this thing? Did you see the legendary Scarlet Bee? Do you still have any? Old Man Devil grabbed Sima Yu's hand and asked a few questions. Although the Scarlet Bees are rare, Master, you don't have to be so agitated. Sima Yu was so frightened by his expression that her hair stood on end. Junior brother, you don't know. The old man has been looking for this thing for many years, but he has never found it. He has asked me more than once if they are all dead. Otherwise, why can't he find it? The main reason we came down this time is to look for scarlet honey. Wu Lingyu explained for Old Man Devil. Yuyue, where did you get scarlet honey? Old Man Devil asked. My own bees produced it, Sima Yu said as she took out a big bottle of scarlet honey and asked, Master, how much do you want? Seeing her take out such a big bottle of scarlet honey at once, Old Man Devil was dumbfounded. Wu Lingyu couldn't remain calm either. So much scarlet honey, ha ha ha. Old Man Devil laughed happily, but was provoked by Sima Yu's next words. Master, don't be so agitated. We usually just drink this directly. If you want, I can give you another bottle. What a waste. How shameful. Old Man Devil snatched the scarlet honey from Sima Yu's hand, as if he was afraid that she would waste it again. Sima Yu didn't think that Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu would have such a big reaction after hearing about the scarlet honey. She said, how would I know that this thing is so precious? Junior brother, you said that this was produced by your scarlet bees? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Sima Yu moved her mind and a scarlet bee appeared in front of them. It really is a scarlet bee. Old Man Devil looked at the scarlet bee and said, Yuyue, How many of these little things do you have? A lot. Sima Yue replied. In these 2 years, the Scarlet Queen Bee had produced many scarlet bees. With the time difference in the Spirit Pagoda, there were many scarlet bees now. Then give me some. Old Man Devil said with a smile. Okay. Sima Yue agreed readily. Is 1,000 enough? 1,000? Old Man Devil thought that he was hallucinating, and the jade bottle in his hand almost fell to the ground. Sima Yue saw Old Man Devil's expression and thought that he didn't think it was enough. She said, Master, I still have to provide this scarlet honey to the Sima family. I can't give it all at once. How about I give you 1,000 first and give you some next time? Cough cough, 100 is enough. Wu Lingyu said. Old Man Devil originally thought that Sima Yue would give him a few dozen, but he didn't expect Sima Yue to say such a number. He almost peed in his pants. Suddenly, he realized that she said she would give him some next time. You have the Scarlet Queen Bee? Yes. Sima Yue said as she called out the Scarlet Queen Bee. She said, these scarlet bees are her eggs. Wahahaha, Yue, how did you get such a treasure? With this thing, you can have as many scarlet bees as you want. The Scarlet Queen Bee also felt that the opponent was very strong, so it obediently stayed in Sima Yue's hands. Master, find something that can store life and I'll give it to you. Sima Yue said, do you want to try this spirit recovery pill first? Okay. Old Man Devil said with a smile, I'll eat the spirit recovery pill first before refining the triple yuan pill. Master, when you refine the triple yuan pill, let Bei Gong come with you. Sima Yue took the opportunity to say. Okay, she can come with me when the time comes. He was in an extremely good mood and readily agreed to Sima Yue's request. Right, stinky brat, didn't you want to go to the Sophia mountain range? Now that you've seen your little junior brother, you can scram now. Old Man Devil said. I'm not going. Wu Lingyu said. The person he was looking for was here, why would he go to the Sophia mountain range? You stinky brat, are you messing with me? Old Man Devil said unhappily, it's a good thing that your little junior brother is so considerate. No. Wu Lingyu said very honestly. He also didn't think that he would meet Sima Yue here. How could he be messing with him? I'm too lazy to look at you. My eyes hurt. Yue, I'm going to find a place to take the spirit recovery pill. The two of you can protect me. As he spoke, he grabbed Sima Yue's shoulder and flashed to Bei Gong Tang's side. He grabbed her and brought them away. Wu Lingyu saw that the old man had left him like this and said unhappily, Old man, you're so biased now. Sigh. As he spoke, he also flew away, not caring at all that the 10,000 Beast Mountain was not safe at night. Old Man Devil brought Sima Yue and flew for who knew how long before they arrived at a mountainside and found a cave to enter. The two of you stay outside and guard me. I need 2 days to digest the spirit recovery pill. Chapter 287. Alright, Master, don't worry. We will stand guard outside. Sima Yue pulled Bei Gong Tang out after she finished speaking. Old Man Devil took out the soul recovery pill. His eyes were cold, as if he was looking at the time when he was injured. Sure Typhone, wait till I recover, I will personally pay you a visit. With that, he swallowed the pill and began to use his spiritual energy to catalyze the pill. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang stood guard outside the cave. They leisurely took out tables, chairs and tea sets, and began to brew tea. Yue, thank you. Bei Gong Tang said gratefully. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have become a member of the Divine Devil Valley. Bei Gong Tang said, to a professional master, being able to enter the Divine Devil Valley is a great honor, and it's an extraordinary position. People from Divine Devil Valley will be treated more courteously if they are of the same rank. That's because you're talented and hardworking. Sima Yue said, otherwise, even if I told Master, he wouldn't let you in. Meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life. Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. I feel very lucky to have met you guys, Sima Yue said. I'm looking forward to seeing the Bei Gong family's expression when they see you. What kind of expression could he have? My father treats us as enemies. He would definitely want to eat me if he saw me. Bei Gong Tang said self-deprecatingly. Your family will definitely know that your father and aunt dared to treat you this way. However, they did not protect you. You must make them blind in the future. Sima Yue said. Not all of them. Bei Gong Tang said, my uncle treats me pretty well. It's a pity that his talent in alchemy isn't very good, so his position in the clan isn't very high. Back then, it was all thanks to him that I managed to escape. In order to help me escape, he was even injured. Sigh, I wonder how he's doing now. Don't worry about it. It's been a long time since the incident happened. We can only wait for you to go up and check on the situation. Sima Yue comforted her. Bei Gong Tang smiled and lowered her head to drink her tea. Sima Yue supported her head with one hand and looked at the full moon in the sky. She said, along the way, we've only been cultivating and cultivating. I don't think we've taken a good look at the scenery. Pfft, why are you so sad today? Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. It's just a feeling. Sima Yue said, I don't know where my parents are, wait until we go up, then we'll go look for it together. Bei Gong Tang said. Yes. 2 days passed by in the blink of an eye. Because Old Man Devil had set up a barrier around himself, they couldn't sense the fluctuations inside. They went in to check on him twice, and when they saw that he was fine, they stood guard outside. Suddenly, they felt the surrounding spiritual energy rushing towards them. Thinking that something had happened, they hurriedly went inside to take a look. However, they found that Old Man Devil's face was ruddy, and most of the wrinkles on his face had disappeared. Only his white hair was still as white as snow. The spirit chi surged to this place, but it was isolated and then dispersed. Old Man Devil opened his eyes, his gaze sharper than before. Master, how are you feeling? Sima Yue asked worriedly. The phenomenon just now was too frightening, and the two of them thought that something had happened to Old Man Devil. However, seeing that his body was much better than before, it didn't seem like there was a problem. Old Man Devil waved his hand, and the barrier was removed. He stood up and moved his body, saying, I'm fine. Then what was that phenomenon just now? My old injuries have been healed, and I can advance in rank. However, the spiritual energy in this continent isn't suitable for me, so I cut it off. Old Man Devil explained. Cut off your advancement? Then won't it affect your cultivation in the future? It was the first time Sima Yue heard that one could cut off one's advancement. It's fine, I'll be fine when I reach the upper realm. Old Man Devil said, moreover, I've just recovered from my injuries. It's not good to advance in rank now. Oh. Sima Yue nodded. Since he said it was fine, then it was fine. Master, since you've recovered, then when should we refine the 3 yuan pill? No rush, no rush. Get me something to eat first. I'll only have the energy to refine pills when I'm full. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang both had a drop of cold sweat on their faces. Did he have to like eating so much? I've finally met someone who likes eating more than me. Sima Yue muttered. However, she resigned herself to her fate and went to cook for Old Man Devil. Bei Gong Tang came to help her. The two of them were originally very fast, and there weren't many people this time. It didn't take long for them to make a table full of dishes. All right, bring the soup over. I'll call Master over to eat. Sima Yue said. All right, go ahead. Bei Gong Tang smiled. Old Man Devil went to the mountain peak while they were cooking. When Sima Yue went up, he was looking towards the direction of Dragon Reflection Mountain. Master, the food is ready. She went up and said. The ominous ground is about to appear. Old Man Devil seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be talking to her. Master, what did you say? Sima Yuyue was shocked. Old Man Devil turned back to look at Sima Yuyue, then looked at the devil's snare bracelet on her wrist. After that, he turned back to look at Dragon Reflection Mountain and asked, Yuyue, what do you think Dragon Reflection Mountain looks like? They weren't close to Dragon Reflection Mountain, but to the two of them, they could still roughly see it. Moreover, at this distance, they could see the whole picture of Dragon Reflection Mountain. It looks like a dragon. Sima Yuyue said, especially when it connects with the surrounding mountains, it looks like a dragon's head. That's right. This place was originally a place of great fortune. However, after the passage of time, this place is about to become an ominous ground. Old Man Devil said. Master, is it related to the ominous beasts below? Sima Yuyue asked. So you knew. Old Man Devil wasn't surprised. The first time he saw her, she had kindly reminded him. Although she didn't say it clearly, Old Man Devil knew that she definitely knew something. Sima Yuyue shrugged her shoulders and said, I have an auspicious beast. It is more sensitive to the aura of these ominous beasts. Although the aura is very weak, it can still sense it. I don't know about anything else. I see. Auspicious beasts aren't common in this world. Even in the upper continents, there aren't many of them. You're really lucky. Old Man Devil sighed. Senior brother has a Qilin. Sima Yuyue said, Master, what exactly is that thing below? Old Man Devil shook his head and said, I don't know. It's my first time here. I can only vaguely feel its aura. Master, when you look at Dragon Reflection Mountain and say that it will become an ominous ground, you mean that thing is below Dragon Reflection Mountain? Maybe, maybe not. Old Man Devil said, but I think that the spirit beasts that appear once every few years must have something to do with it. Maybe the people in Sacred City know something, or something is controlling it, so it has no choice but to send the spirit beasts to destroy that place. Chapter 288. Sima Yuyue was shocked by Old Man Devil's words. That creature was actually able to command the entire 10,000 Beast Mountain spiritual beasts to attack the Holy City. How powerful was this? When I was in the Holy City, I heard the Pavilion Master tell the stinky brat that the 10,000 Beast Mountain is getting closer and closer to each other, and the duration is getting longer and longer. I think that thing might be getting stronger, and maybe it will break out of its shackles soon. I'm really curious about what it is, the old devil guessed. If the Holy City really exists for that guy, it means that it has existed for a very long time. To be able to live for so long, how powerful must he be? Sima Yuyue was frightened by her own thoughts. The old devil was also awestruck. Maybe it's even more powerful than those things above. He might even be comparable to the ancient race. One is the 10,000 Beast Mountain, one is the sea region. Is the Yilan continent really going to fall into chaos? Sima Yuyue murmured. She was worried that her grandfather and the rest would be in danger if they continued to live on this continent. See? Is there something there too? Old Man Devil was a little surprised. It was already inconceivable for a continent to have one such existence. If there were two of them, then the future would be chaotic. Sima Yuyue told him about what happened when she went to Forgotten Worry Island to look for herbs. She also said that she obtained the Scarlet Queen Bee there. After Old Man Devil heard this, he pondered for a moment and said, if it's as you say, then that thing should belong to the Dark Clan. I don't know who left it on this continent. Master. Sima Yuyue felt that someone was approaching and turned around to see Bei Gong Tang walking over. Yuyue, Grandpa Demon, the food will get cold if we don't go back now. Bei Gong Tang said. She waited below for a long time, but the two of them did not come down, so she personally came to call them. Let's go, it's time to eat. Old Man Devil said, what did you make for me today? I made a lot. I'm sure your stomach will be bloated. Sima Yuyue stopped worrying and said with a smile. She was also quite optimistic. No matter what would happen in the continent, it would be many years later. No one knew what would happen in the next few years. Instead of worrying, it was better to improve her strength. At the very least, she could bring the Sima family to the upper realm before she left. Old Man Devil praised them as he ate. Your skills are so much better than the ones in the restaurants above. I wonder what kind of delicacies the spirit race will make. Spirit tribe? This was the first time Sima Yue had heard of this term. She did not understand. Humans aren't the only ones up there. Many spirit beasts have formed a race as well. Because of their great strength, they are on par with humans. In other words, humans are just one of the many races in the upper realm. Old Man Devil said. Ah. Sima Yue was stunned. Aren't humans ruling the world? You could say that because there aren't many astrals in each race, and the humans have the absolute advantage in terms of numbers. However, it can also be said that the human race and the spirit race are on par because there are many different types of spirit race. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue did not expect the upper realm to be like this. Humans and spirit race living together broke her previous world's view. What are the spirit race like? She asked curiously. They aren't much different from humans. They always say that humans are weak, but many of them choose to take human form. Bei Gong Tang said. However, many of them are still beasts. You'll know what it's like up there. Old Man Devil said as he gnawed on a bone. Sima Yue nodded. There was no point in saying more, and it would affect her Dao heart. Oh right, Master, who are you refining the 3 yuan pill for? Your senior brother. Old Man Devil said. After gnawing on the last bone, he wiped his hands and said, I'm full. I'll go and digest it. When I'm back, we'll start refining pills. After he finished speaking, a black shadow flashed and he disappeared. However, Sima Yue acted as if she did not see him leave. She sat in her seat and stared blankly. Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yue and asked, Yue, what's wrong? Nothing. Clean up this place. I'll leave for a while. Sima Yue said as she stood up and walked towards the mountain peak. What's wrong with her? Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. She had never seen her like this before. Sima Yue arrived at the mountain peak and found a rock to sit on. She looked at the devil's snare bracelet on her hand and thought deeply. After a while, she asked, Senior Martial Brother is your reincarnated soul, isn't he? After a while, Mo Sha finally said one word, yes. As expected. Sima Yue said, the 3 yuan pill is a forbidden pill for people with incomplete souls. Master said that this pill was prepared for Senior Brother. This means that Senior Brother's soul is incomplete. You also said that Master has the aura of your reincarnated soul. Therefore, Senior Brother is your other half. You're really meticulous. Mo Sha said. Sima Yue thought about how she met Wu Lingyu a few years ago when she got Mo Sha. She guessed that Wu Lingyu followed Mo Sha's aura to Pu Luo mountain range. It was a pity that she kept Mo Sha in the spirit pearl, causing the two of them to miss each other for so many years. Then you. What do you plan to do after this? Sima Yue asked hesitantly. Mo Sha was silent. Maybe even he did not think that it would be so easy to find his reincarnated soul. After a while, Sima Yue heard his reply. Fusion. This is inevitable. Otherwise, he won't be able to live. Why? Because as his strength grows, his soul will not be able to support his body. It will become weaker and weaker until it disappears. Mo Sha said. Disappears? Sima Yue was shocked, saying, from the time you died until now, it's already been over 10,000 years. You must have reincarnated more than once. Why would you disappear now? Nothing is eternal. Mo Sha said, moreover, that's only a small part of my soul. Every time I reincarnate, my soul's strength will weaken a little. When I die again, my soul's strength will not be enough to reincarnate, so it will naturally disappear. Then what if it's all of your soul? Sima Yue asked. If you can remember your past memories after reincarnating, your complete soul will naturally be able to cultivate the spirit incantation again. Everything will start over. Mo Shah said. Then what if the person who reincarnated a few times is not especially powerful? Sima Yue was shocked. If there were many people like him, wouldn't this world be turned upside down? No. Even if the soul can remember his past memories, his strength can only be cultivated from the beginning. However, this person's soul will be stronger than others. Mo Shah said, moreover, there are only a few people in history who can cultivate to this level. Sima Yue was speechless. Was he praising himself? Chapter 289. Then when do you plan to fuse? She asked. No rush, the conditions aren't ripe yet. Mo Shah said. Conditions? What are your conditions? Could it be that he still had to wait for the right time, place, and people? Mo Shah understood the doubts in her heart and said, he can't right now, and neither can you. Can't I do it? Sima Yue glared at her. Why were her words so ambiguous? Fortunately, she was not a man. Otherwise, she would be depressed to death if she heard this. Your strength isn't enough. Forcefully removing our relationship, even if you don't die, you'll be crippled. Mo Shah said. Sima Yue opened her mouth wide. So dangerous? Recalling that he said Wu Lingyu couldn't do it either, she asked, then what about senior martial brother? Why couldn't he do it either? His strength has increased too quickly, and his soul is already very weak. If we fuse now, he will directly turn into ashes, and I won't be able to obtain the complete soul, so I will also end up in the same situation. Mo Shah said. Sima Yue was speechless. She had found him, but she could not fuse with him. What do we do now? She asked. Increase your strength and nourish his soul. Mo Shah said. You want me to nourish his soul? Sima Yue was not happy. Although that guy is my senior brother, he's still very annoying. What if I don't miss him? You have no choice. Mo Shah said. Life is really full of helplessness. Sima Yue sighed. I wonder what will happen if Master and eldest senior brother find out about you. Do you think we should tell them? What do you think? Mo Shah asked back, but his tone was rather certain. Sigh, with how smart they are, they'll definitely notice if I give senior brother the soul fluid. I better be honest with them. Sima Yue tugged at her hair, unwilling to give up. Wu Lingyu had taken advantage of her, but now she had to save him. She was a conservative person in her previous life. Just thinking about it made her panic. Sigh. She let out a long sigh, but the depression in her heart still couldn't be spat out. When she heard Old Man Devil's voice from the bottom of the mountain, she knew that he had returned. She then got up and went down the mountain. Yue, where did you go? Bei Gong Tang asked when she saw that Sima Yue had returned. I just enjoyed the breeze at the top of the mountain. Sima Yue saw Bei Gong Tang's concerned expression and shook her head to indicate that she was fine. Seeing Old Man Devil, she sighed in her heart. If he knew that his two disciples were related to Mo Shah, she didn't know how he would react. Since you're back, let's begin. Old Man Devil said as he took out a cauldron and began refining. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang stared at Old Man Devil as he refined pills. This was their first time seeing a 9th grade alchemist refine pills, and they could learn a lot from it. Refining the 3 yuan pill required hundreds of medicinal herbs, and they were all related to the soul. It was more difficult to refine them than other medicinal herbs. However, Old Man Devil's movements were very casual. He threw medicinal herbs one by one into the cauldron as if they didn't cost anything. He didn't even worry that he wouldn't refine them properly. Furthermore, after refining one medicinal herb, he would use his spiritual energy to wrap it in the cauldron. He wouldn't take it out to refine the other herbs. Now that his spiritual energy was fused with the essence, it would weaken the medicinal effect. Hence, he could only wrap it up and not fuse it together. Although it looked simple, it required a lot of skill from the alchemist. You can do that too. Sima Yue touched her chin, learning how to control it. After refining the medicinal herbs, Old Man Devil began to fuse them together. This process was very slow, and he only finished after 3 to 4 hours. After that, during the pill refining stage, Old Man Devil became casual again. However, each of his hand seals were complicated. Streaks of spiritual energy were injected into the cauldron as he moved. The two who were watching were dazzled, and couldn't even see his movements clearly. Just as he was refining the pill, the sky suddenly became gloomy. A thundercloud slowly condensed in the sky above them. Pill tribulation. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang cried out in surprise. Refining the triple yuan pill actually attracted heavenly lightning. This meant that this pill was at least a 7th-ranked pill. Old Man Devil also saw the tribulation cloud in the sky, but he didn't take it to heart. He continued to refine the pill. The pill fragrance is coming out, Sima Yue said as she smelled a delicate fragrance. Bei Gong Tang also smelled the pill fragrance. Just by smelling it, she felt as if her soul was being nourished. It was an indescribable comfort. If she ate this pill, she didn't know what effect it would have. Rise! Old Man Devil shouted. A streak of spiritual energy wrapped around the 3 pills and rushed out of the cauldron. At this moment, the tribulation cloud continuously struck down 3 streaks of lightning, directly hitting the 3 pills. Humph! Old Man Devil leaped up and waved his left hand, wrapping the 3 pills. His right hand continuously attacked 4 times, directly dispersing the 3 streaks of lightning. The last one hit the tribulation cloud, and then, the tribulation cloud escaped. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang's eyes widened as they stared straight at Old Man Devil. Their jaws almost dropped to the ground. So awesome! Sima Yue said in a daze. Spiritual energy directly blew the pill cloud away. Bei Gong Tang had also never seen such an awesome person. In the past, there were people in the clan who refined pills. She saw the strange scene from a remote courtyard. At that time, they took out their spiritual weapons to block the tribulation, but Old Man Devil used his own strength to easily blow the tribulation cloud away. He was really too strong. Old Man Devil landed on the ground and took out a jade bottle to store the 3 pills. He kept it satisfactorily. I've completed my main goal here. Old Man Devil laughed loudly. Sima Yue could feel that he was really happy. She knew that he was happy because Wu Lingyu was able to extend his life. She sighed in her heart. Although he kept calling Wu Lingyu a stinky brat, he really cared about that guy. She touched the devil's snare bracelet and felt a little more confident. Alright, let's go back. Old Man Devil said as he kept the pill furnace. Master, aren't you going to give the pills to senior brother? Sima Yue asked. Although Wu Lingyu looked fine, she knew that his situation was very bad. His soul was extremely weak. How can I be the one to look for that brat? I feel uncomfortable when I see those swindlers from the Sage Pavilion. Old Man Devil said as he took out a crystal-clear stone. He inserted spiritual energy into it and the stone emitted a bright light. Stinky brat, get your ass to Dragon Reflection Mountain. He shouted at the stone. Very quickly, Wu Lingyu's voice came from the stone, saying, Old man, I'm busy right now. I'll look for you in a bit. Sima Yue was stunned again. What kind of stone was this? It was so magical. It was like a mobile phone. You better hurry up. Otherwise, the good stuff will be given to your junior brother. Old Man Devil said unhappily. Alright. Sima Yue said with a smile. On the other side, Wu Lingyu heard Sima Yue's voice and seemed to see her squinting eyes. He smiled faintly and said, Do you want to bite me again? Sima Yue was furious. Was this guy saying that she stole his things and he was going to take advantage of her again? Chapter 290. You brat, get over here right now. Old Man Devil roared and cut off the connection. Please remember our website, Beach Novels. Sima Yoyue's eyes lit up as she looked at the stone in his hand. Master, what kind of treasure is this? Old Man Devil saw that Sima Yoyue was almost drooling and said, this stupid rock. This was a treasure? Ignorant. Sima Yoyue pouted after being scolded by him, I've never seen it before. What the hell is this? Mother-son stone. Old Man Devil said, the Mother-son stone and Mother-son stone can communicate like this. So it can only be one-on-one? Sima Yoyue asked. Yes. Old Man Devil said. Master, do you have more? Give me a bunch. Sima Yoyue giggled. Sure, there are a lot of these things in the Divine Devil Valley. Old Man Devil replied readily. The corner of Bei Gong Tang's mouth twitched. She knew about this item. Although it wasn't as precious as Sima Yoyue thought, it definitely wasn't as useless as what Old Man Devil said. It was still relatively rare. Now that Sima Yoyue had opened her mouth and Old Man Devil had agreed so easily, what would the higher-ups think if they heard this? He didn't expect Old Man Devil to really take out a bunch of them. There were at least 20 or 30 of them. Sima Yoyue hugged a pile of stones and said happily, each of us gets one, and each of our brothers gets one. Master, these are not enough for each of us. When you reach the Divine Devil Valley, you can look for another one. You can contact many people. I don't usually use it, so I didn't bring it with me. Old Man Devil said. Alright, let's go back now. With that, he brought the two of them back to Dragon Reflection Mountain. You're finally back. Sima Youyang saw that Sima Youyue had returned and stepped forward to pat her on the shoulder. Sima Youyue saw that there were fewer people in the campsite and asked, where are the others? He went to the mountains to gain experience. Sima Youyang said. Then why didn't you go? We just came back today. Sima Youyang said, we'll rest for a day before going. Are you done with your business? Yes, Master has already eaten the pill. The 3 yuan pill has also been refined. Sima Youyue said. Sister, where did you go? You didn't bring Rainbow along. Rainbow flew out and landed on Sima Yoyue's shoulder. Sima Youyue touched Rainbow and asked, where's your husband? He left me here and left by himself. Rainbow complained bitterly about Halcyon's evil deeds. He left? Where did he go? Sima Youyue asked in surprise. He didn't say. He just told me to wait for you here. He will be back in 2 days. Rainbow said. Sister, did he go to some dangerous place? It's possible, Sima Youyue said. He didn't even bring you along, which means that the place he went to is very dangerous. He can't guarantee your safety. Ah. Was her husband in danger? Sister, what should we do now? Rainbow cried out worriedly. Let's wait and see. Sima Youyue said. If she guessed correctly, Chongming should have gone to that place. Sister, will hubby be okay? Rainbow asked worriedly. There shouldn't be any problems. Sima Youyue comforted. Didn't he say that he would be back in 2 days? You have to believe in him. I got it. Rainbow said dejectedly. After a few hours, Wu Lingyu came. Seeing Old Man Devil eating again, he said, you've gained weight recently. How is that possible? I didn't gain weight even after eating so many spirit clansmen. Old Man Devil threw the bone in his hand over. Wu Lingyu dodged it. Give it to me. Wu Lingyu walked over and said. Old Man Devil took out a jade bottle and threw it to Wu Lingyu, saying, just 3, it should last you 3 years. Wu Lingyu didn't even look at the jade bottle and kept it, saying, I guessed that you finished refining when I saw the pill tribulation during the day. 3 years. Sima Youyue and Wu Lingyu didn't have any sadness on their faces. She lowered her head, then raised it up and asked, Senior brother, what's wrong? Wu Lingyu came to her side when she lowered her head. Hearing her question, he reached out and touched her head, saying, "Junior brother, if I'm not here, you have to take good care of this old man." Sima Yue slapped his hand away, saying, "Don't touch my head. You have to find it in these 3 years. I'll go up and find a divinator to see if there's any help." Old Man Devil said. "No need, that divinator is your nemesis. Even if you find him, he might not tell you." Wu Lingyu took out a rocking chair and placed it by the lake, saying, "If it was originally in the Yilin continent and he said it was in the empty continent, where would I find it? Since you sensed it in the Yilin continent, it should still be in this continent." Old Man Devil said. "I know that, but it's a pity that my soul is much weaker than before. I can't sense its existence anymore." Wu Lingyu said regretfully. Were the heavens really only giving him these few years to live? Maybe you'll be able to sense it again after you eat the 3 yuan pill. Old Man Devil frowned, feeling a little anxious. Sima Yue sat at the side with her head lowered. After Wu Lingyu came, Old Man Devil casually cast a barrier. Although the Sima family could see them, they couldn't hear what they were saying. She quietly listened to their conversation. They didn't hide anything from her, which could be considered as a sign of their trust in her. "That, Master." She raised her head and looked at Old Man Devil, saying, "I know where the other half of Senior Brother's soul is." Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu were shocked. Although they didn't hide anything from her, they didn't say that they were looking for the other half of Wu Lingyu's soul. How did she know? "Yue, what did you say?" Old Man Devil's eyes flashed, his expression complicated. Sima Yue saw the look in his eyes and wasn't surprised by his thoughts. After all, Wu Lingyu was a child that he raised, so he definitely treasured him very much. However, she knew their secret. If she couldn't come up with a proper reason, she was afraid that he wouldn't let her off easily. "I said, I know that Senior Brother's soul isn't complete. His strength has been increasing these years, but his soul is getting weaker and weaker. You're looking for the other half of his soul." Sima Yue told them everything she knew. "Also, I know where the soul you're looking for is." "How do you know all this?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue looked at the Sima family and said, "Let's find a place to talk." Old Man Devil stopped eating and brought Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu away from the small lake. They went to the top of a mountain not far away. After confirming that there was no one around, he put them down and cast a barrier. He looked at her and asked, "How do you know all this?" Sima Yue sighed and said, "Because, the other half of his soul is with me." Chapter 291. I'm in love with literature to provide you with the full text of Crazy Wife, Miracle Dr. 5th Miss. Click on the Reading History menu in the upper right corner to find the chapters you have read. It's easier to catch up with books. What? Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu both looked at her in shock. She actually had the other half of her soul? What was going on? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil and said, "Master, you'd better make a barrier so that we can't be seen." Old Man Devil guessed what she was going to do. With a wave of his hand, the scene in front of Sima Yue changed. She felt like she was in a milky white space, and she couldn't even see the people outside. "All right, now the people outside can't see us," Old Man Devil said. "You can let him out now." Sima Yue nodded and touched the devil's snare bracelet. "Are you still not coming out?" Old Man Devil's heart skipped a beat when he saw her talking to the bracelet. Could it be what he was thinking? Black mist seeped out of the bracelet, causing Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu's hearts to skip a beat. Black mist, dark race. Sima Yue saw their reactions and knew that they were frightened. Mo Sha's figure slowly took shape. Fiery red clothes, fiery red hair, and red eyes looked at Wu Lingyu. When Wu Lingyu saw Mo Sha, the reaction from his soul made his body tremble. He also looked straight at Mo Sha. Old Man Devil saw his reaction and knew he wasn't wrong. He sighed. He really is from the dark race. Sima Yue was ignored by the three of them, but she did not want to participate in their conversation. Are we really the same person? Wu Lingyu looked at Mo Sha and felt that this feeling was a bit strange. However, anyone who saw the other half of the soul would feel unnatural. I always thought that your other half would also be a life. I didn't expect it to be just a soul. Old Man Devil said as he turned to look at Mo Sha. He clicked his tongue and exclaimed, a spirit body can actually exist in a physical body. How strong was your spirit when you were alive? He's an old monster. Sima Yuyue said, he's been around for at least 100,000 years. Old Man Devil looked at Mo Sha and felt that the more he looked, the more familiar he felt, saying, why do I feel that your appearance is somewhat familiar? What's your name? Mo Sha. Mo Sha is a good name. Old Man Devil nodded as he spoke. Following which, his eyes widened as he stared at Mo Sha. He said excitedly, you said you're called Mo Sha? Mo Sha nodded. Why did he have such a reaction? Aha, it can't be. Old Man Devil suddenly laughed out loud, you're the sovereign devil from back then? I didn't expect to see you with my own eyes. Sima Yuyue was dumbfounded. Mo Sha was the demon king that Old Man Devil mentioned? Where did this guy come from? Master, who exactly is the sovereign devil? She asked. You don't know? Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yuyue. Weren't they together? He didn't tell me, Sima Yuyue said. I'll tell you later. Old Man Devil said. Then, he looked at the two who were still staring at each other and said, since the soul has been found, then we don't have to use the 3 yuan pill anymore. No. Mo Sha said. Why? Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu didn't understand. Didn't he want to merge with them? You tell them. Mo Sha said as he returned to the devil's snare ring. Your soul is too weak right now. You can't merge with him. Sima Yuyue knew that Mo Sha didn't like to explain himself and said, moreover, he can't leave me now. Can't leave you? Wu Lingyu narrowed his eyes. This sentence made him unhappy. Sima Yuyue nodded and said, Mo Sha and I have a contract. He said that my current strength isn't enough. If I forcefully break it, even if I don't die, I'll be crippled and he won't be able to live either. Moreover, you need time to recover your soul strength. You have a contract with him? Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yuyue in astonishment. That was a great devil from tens of thousands of years ago. How could he have a contract with a little girl like her? Sima Yuyue rubbed her nose and said, it was just a coincidence. Then, she explained how she had a contract with Mo Sha. Old Man Devil couldn't help but sigh. No wonder I couldn't find him when I went to Pu Luo mountain range. Wu Lingyu said, I missed him for so many years by a freak combination of factors, but I met you at that time. I'd rather not have met you. Sima Yuyue snorted coldly. Ha ha ha. Wu Lingyu saw her like this and was in a good mood. So that's how you met. Old Man Devil said, that's not right. Didn't you say that you were saved by a little girl the last time you came back? Old man, when did you become so stupid? Didn't you see that she was wearing young Marshal Uncle's illusion ring? Wu Lingyu looked at him with disdain. He thought that Old Man Devil had noticed this long ago. Old Man Devil pulled Sima Yuyue's hand over and looked. Indeed, he saw an illusion ring. This was refined by Old Man Devil? How could he have the time to refine an illusion ring? He mumbled. He refined it when he lost the bet with you. Wu Lingyu said, he gave it to you, you glanced at it and then casually threw it to me. I was wondering why I didn't have any impression of it. Old Man Devil said, so Yuyue, you're a girl. Sima Yuyue nodded. Looking at him, he wouldn't abandon her as his disciple just because she was a girl, would he? Master, you're not going back on your words, right? She asked carefully. Back on what? Old Man Devil said, although this is a bit unexpected, I've already accepted you. No matter what, you'll be my successor in the future. That old woman took in a genius girl and showed off in front of me all day. When you go up, you must blind that old woman's eyes, understand? Sima Yuyue grinned and said, Yes, master. Speaking of which, he said that he wanted to nourish that stinky brat's soul. However, I've tried all these years, but his soul is getting weaker and weaker. Looks like we have to think of another way. Old Man Devil said worriedly. Thinking of this, he felt a bit uncertain. Master, don't worry. When I met Imo Shah, he was much weaker than he is now. Didn't I feed him until he was white and chubby? Leave the matter of nourishing Senior's soul to me. Sima Yuyue patted her chest and said. You have an idea? Of course. Sima Yuyue said. What idea? I have an idea. Sima Yuyue said, keeping him in suspense. Old Man Devil slapped her head and said, You're keeping me in suspense in front of us. Do you want Master to punish you? Sima Yuyue rubbed her aching head and pouted, saying, It hurts. Wu Lingyu smiled and said, This old man is impatient. You'll know in the future. Humph. Sima Yuyue glared at him. No matter how you looked at his smile, it seemed like he was taking pleasure in her misfortune. Hurry up and say it. What idea? Old Man Devil waved his hand again. Sima Yuyue hugged her head and jumped back, saying, Don't hit me. I'll tell you. She took out a jade bottle and handed it to Old Man Devil, saying, Let him eat this. What is this? Old Man Devil opened the jade bottle and smelled it. He felt that his spiritual sense was somewhat stirred. Wu Lingyu also smelled it. His weak soul seemed to have recovered quite a bit. Crazy Wife, Godly Dr. Wu Xiaojia's latest chapter / welcome to bookstore. The fun of books lies in sharing. Click the icon to share this book. The more you share it, the faster it will be updated. Chapter 292. What is this? How can it have such a great effect on the soul? Wu Lingyu asked. Soul fluid is extremely effective for the soul and spiritual power. Sima Yuyue said, Back then, Imo Shah had a lot. I used this to help him recover bit by bit. It's so effective. Wu Lingyu was curious about the soul fluid. When he met Imo Shah just now, he felt how strong his soul was. He didn't think that he would actually use this to recover. That's right. After tens of thousands of years, even if his soul is strong, it can't be as strong as it is now. Old Man Devil said, and then looked at Sima Yuyue with a smile. My good disciple, do you have a lot of these things? Give me some too. Didn't you want to kill me just now? Sima Yuyue said. Old Man Devil was quite thick-skinned. Your senior brother's missing soul has always been a secret. When you suddenly mentioned it, I thought you were from the 10,000 Flower Valley and approached us with ill intentions. Now that I know you're not, you're still my good disciple. Humph. Sima Yuyue snorted, still pulling a long face. My good disciple, don't be so calculative with your master. Old Man Devil actually pulled Sima Yuyue's sleeves and acted coquettishly, causing his two disciples to have goosebumps. Humph, master, you have to compensate me for my mental loss. Sima Yuyue said. Sure, when you go to the Divine Devil Valley, you can take whatever you want. Old Man Devil agreed readily. You said that day that it was a meeting gift, not compensation. Sima Yuyue said. Then what kind of compensation do you want? Old Man Devil tugged at his white hair and said, Why don't you tell me? How would I know what you have? Sima Yuyue's face darkened. Old man, why don't you give her your thumb ring? Wu Lingyu suggested. That's fine. It'll be hers sooner or later anyway. Old Man Devil nodded. What's the use of this thumb ring? Sima Yuyue asked. You can mobilize a portion of the Divine Devil Valley's power. Old Man Devil said. It represents power. Moreover, they can mobilize some forces in some cities. So powerful? Sima Yuyue looked at Old Man Devil and said, Don't tell me this is your Divine Devil Valley Lord's signature item? Of course not. Even if I wanted to give it to you, you wouldn't be able to wear it. Old Man Devil said. Why? Did a thumb ring have a request? Of course it's dangerous, Wu Lingyu said. Then what is the thumb ring you were talking about? She asked. This. Old Man Devil took out a thumb ring and gave it to Sima Yuyue. See if you can put this on. Sima Yuyue took the ring and looked at it. There was a skull engraved on the surface of the blood-red agate, and there were 2 drops of blood in between the 2 eye sockets of the skull. Why does this thing look so evil? Don't tell me they're from the demon race? She looked up and asked. Turn it upside down and see. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yuyue did it suspiciously, then her eyes widened. This time I've turned into a fairy. How magical, how did you do it? Don't be so curious. Old Man Devil said, this ring chooses its owner. Most people can't wear it. Try it. Oh. Sima Yuyue put the thumb ring on her left thumb and immediately felt a cool aura pass from her finger to her brain. But before she could say how comfortable it was, a hot aura attacked her. Cold and hot intertwined on her body, as if they were fighting for her body. Suddenly, she felt as if her soul flew up and then fell back down. The surrounding scenery quickly receded, and when she got used to the situation in front of her, she found that she was no longer on the mountain. Where is this? There's movement. She felt a spiritual energy fluctuation in the distance and decided to go over to check it out. She also wanted to see if she could find someone to ask where she was. Sima Yuyue kept walking forward, and only when she felt that her legs were weak did she manage to climb over the mountain in front of her. There's no one. She muttered, then where did the fluctuations come from? She continued to walk forward, and felt that her consciousness was slowly dissipating. What's going on? I can't fall asleep. Her intuition told her that she couldn't faint, so she bit hard on her lips and used the pain to stimulate her nerves. What is light, what is darkness? In a daze, a man's sharp voice sounded, like a dry string being pulled. Sima Yuyue felt that her dizzy brain was stimulated and became much more awake. What is right? What is wrong? A pleasant voice broke through the air, carrying a sigh. Sima Yuyue felt a wave of clarity, and the scenery around her changed. She came to a snowy land, and saw a skull and a beautiful woman confronting each other in the snow. What I think is right is right. The skull said, as if answering the woman's question. Only light should be left in the world, and darkness should be chased away. The woman said. Suddenly, the 2 of them turned to look at Sima Yuyue, and asked, what do you think is right, what is wrong, what is light, and what is darkness? Sima Yuyue looked at the 2 of them, and felt that they were very similar to the 2 people on the thumb ring. When the 2 of them looked at her, she felt that her soul was trembling. Hurry up and answer. The skull shouted. Little friend, take your time to think. The woman smiled gently. Sima Yuyue took a deep breath, and said, there is no absolute right or wrong in the world. The same thing can be seen from different angles. To put it simply, if someone kills your family, and you take revenge and kill that person, to you, this is right, but to that person's descendants, you are wrong. Light and darkness, which one should exist? The 2 of them asked at the same time, as if she had to choose one. Light and darkness depend on each other, and neither can leave the other. Sima Yuyue said, where there is light, there will be darkness, and where there is despair, there will also be hope. Nonsense, how can light and darkness exist at the same time? This time, even the woman was angry. Sima Yuyue was not anxious, and pointed to the vast snow, and asked, everywhere is white, doesn't it look clean? But what about below? She squatted down and dug the snow away, and there was a patch of mud below. There's more. She released a wisp of flame, and took out a wooden board, and said, in front of the board is light, but what about behind it? It's a patch of darkness. The skull and the woman did not speak, and looked as if they were deep in thought. Sima Yuyue kept the flame, and said, let's talk about the most common, day and night. Can you say that the world can only have day or darkness? She originally thought that the 2 of them would refute her, but unexpectedly, the woman smiled, and said, very good, your thinking is very correct. You can't generalize everything, whether it's right or wrong, light or darkness, nothing is absolute. You have passed the test, go. Before Sima Yue could react, she felt dizzy. When she opened her eyes, she saw Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu looking at her in shock. Chapter 293. Master, senior brother, why are you looking at me like that? She looked at the two of them and rubbed the space between her eyebrows. She still felt a little dizzy. What did you just see? Old Man Devil asked curiously. I saw a skull and a beauty. Sima Yue said, by the way, I think I went to a very strange place just now. Did you see it? You saw a beauty and a skull? The two of them were shocked. They were frightened by her words. Yes, look, it's the skeleton and the beauty on this one. She pointed at the thumb ring, only to find that it had become as big as her thumb. This thing has become smaller. That means it recognizes you. Old Man Devil explained. Is it because of what I just experienced? Sima Yue quickly understood what he meant. Looking at the ring on her finger, she said, why do I feel that this ring is not ordinary? Of course it's not ordinary, this is the Divine Devil Valley's descendant's thumb ring. Wu Lingyu said. The thumb ring originally approved of him, but he took it off to erase Old Man Devil's approval. However, even if he had been recognized back then, it was not as big as when Sima Yue recognized him. If it wasn't for Old Man Devil's barrier, it would have spread throughout the entire 10,000 Beast Mountain. Successor's thumb ring. Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil speechlessly. Master, did you get the wrong thumb ring? Do you really think that your master has gone senile? Old Man Devil stared at Sima Yue. You want me to be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil in astonishment. Of course. Old Man Devil said, how about I don't compensate you? Nothing much, Sima Yue said unhappily. Can I return this to you? You don't want to be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley? I don't want to. Sima Yue rejected her directly. Why? Old Man Devil's face darkened. If his first disciple wasn't willing, then so be it, but now even this one wasn't willing. If word got out, he would be laughed at. I don't like it. Sima Yue said. Ha ha ha. Wu Lingyu laughed. Her reason was actually the same as his. She was indeed the woman he liked. Yes, he had recognized this fact after being separated for a few years. He liked this girl. Since he already understood his feelings, he would not run away. Instead, he would work hard to make her his woman. It can't be helped if you don't like it. Old Man Devil said, now that the blood ring has recognized you, and it's highly recognized, you will be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley. If you dare to imitate your senior brother, I will break your legs. Senior fellow apprentice has also been recognized by the blood ring? Then why can he do it but I can't? Sima Yue said unhappily. It's precisely because he went back on his word. You can't. Old Man Devil said, the blood ring will get angry if it's rejected again and again. Something like this happened in the past. Two people had their recognition wiped out, and the second person died from bleeding from all 7 orifices. Really? Sima Yue widened her eyes. I've seen it in a book before. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue thought of the skull and beauty she saw. She felt that the two of them contained endless power. All right. She didn't want to die like this, so she reluctantly agreed. So many people want to enter the Divine Devil Valley but can't. You actually despise the Junior Valley Master position. You're really pissing me off. Old Man Devil blew his beard and glared. Sima Yu's mood was extremely gloomy and she didn't answer Old Man Devil's words. She asked, Master, since the Divine Devil Valley has 2 Valley Masters, does that mean there's still a young Valley Master? Yes, he is also a demon. Old Man Devil said, you will know him when you meet him in the future. It seemed that Old Man Devil didn't want to talk about that person. She could only suppress her curiosity. She took out a few jade bottles and stuffed one to Old Man Devil and the rest to Wu Lingyu, saying, "With my power now, I can only give you 1 or 2 drops at a time. Use it as you see fit. There's actually so much." Seeing the treasure, Old Man Devil's solemn expression disappeared. He opened the bottle cap and took a sniff. "What exactly is this?" "Just treat it as the upgraded version of the Earth Dragon marrow," Sima Yuyue said. She said it simply, but it still shocked the two of them. They roughly understood the use of this thing. "I'm unhappy. I'm going back. Seeing the two of you makes me unhappy." Sigh. After she finished speaking, she called out Little Rock and left the mountain peak. She didn't get any compensation, but became the successor of the Divine Devil Valley. This made her very unhappy. She wasn't a fool. The Junior Valley Master position in the Divine Devil Valley would definitely make the people in the upper realm jealous. With this layer of protection, it would be easier for her to go up in the future. But she was a smart person. With great power came great responsibility. There would definitely be a lot of things to do in the future. She was actually a lazy person. Thinking about the things she would have to shoulder in the future made her a little irritated. She's really unhappy. Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yoyue's back view as she left and said faintly, "She has a mild temper, but I believe she'll be fine in a few days." Old Man Devil's attention was still on the soul fluid. He wasn't worried that Sima Yuyue would be angry. Wu Lingyu looked at the jade bottle in his hand and said, "I once saw a type of soul fluid in a book in the Sage Pavilion. It's very similar to this. Maybe, this is the one." "What kind of soul fluid?" "The treasure of heaven and earth, soul fluid," Wu Lingyu said. Old Man Devil was stunned. He looked at the thing in his hand in shock. He had also heard of the soul fluid. The more he looked at it, the more it looked like it. Then he laughed loudly. "She really is a person with great fortune." After Sima Yuyue returned to the small lake, she still felt uncomfortable. She threw stones at the lake to vent her anger. "What's wrong?" Everyone noticed that something was wrong with her and went up to ask. "Nothing." Sima Yuyue felt that she was angry at herself, but it was useless to say it out loud. She saw that there was a bigger stone not far away. She walked over and picked it up. She inserted her spirit energy and threw it into the small lake. Boom dash, the stone broke the surface of the lake, creating layers of ripples. Suddenly, a chill rose from the bottom of the lake, sending chills down everyone's spine. "Danger, retreat into the array," Sima Yuyue suddenly shouted. She turned around and ran back. The others didn't need Sima Yoyue's order. They had already retreated. The few of them all went back into the array. At this moment, the lake seemed to be boiling. The lake water kept bubbling. Then, an aura rose to the sky. However, it seemed to be suppressed by something and was pushed back into the lake. That aura had only appeared for 2 seconds. However, Sima Yuyue and the others felt as if a century had passed. When the aura returned, everyone was already paralyzed on the ground. After a while, Sima Yuyue finally regained her strength. She struggled to get up and stared blankly at the lake. Chapter 294. Just now, what was that? All the members of the Sima family were drenched in cold sweat, as if they had just been fished out of the water. What a terrifying aura! Everyone struggled to get up, but many of them fell down as soon as they stood up. Although Sima Yuyue was standing by the lakeside, she still felt her body go soft and a sense of fear emanated from her soul force. As for the people in Dragon Reflection Town, they were all pressed down. Each and every one of them had a look of terror on their faces. They didn't know what was going on. Old Man Devil, Wu Lingyu, was not far away. When he heard the commotion, he quickly rushed over and landed by the lake. Seeing that Sima Yuyue was safe, he let out a sigh of relief. "Yuyue, what happened?" Wu Lingyu walked over and asked with concern. Sima Yuyue turned to look at him and Old Man Devil. Seeing the concern in their eyes, her anger dissipated. She pointed at the lake and said, "It's coming from inside. Wasn't everything fine before? How did this happen all of a sudden?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yuyue touched her nose and told her about how she threw a stone to vent her anger. "I'll go down and take a look," Old Man Devil said, his interest piqued. "Old man, be careful not to die here." Wu Lingyu also felt the powerful aura just now and said, "Do I look like someone who would die so easily?" "You stinking brat, don't curse me." Old Man Devil coldly snorted. "Master, be careful," Sima Yuyue said. "Yes. Although this thing's aura is strong, it can't do anything to me." After Old Man Devil finished speaking, he wrapped himself in spirit energy and jumped into the lake. "I'm going back to the sacred city. Do you want to come with me?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yuyue shook her head. "I'll let you know when things calm down in the sacred city," Wu Lingyu said. He took out a mother-son stone and gave half to Sima Yuyue. "Okay." Sima Yuyue took the mother-son stone. "I'm going now. Be careful." Wu Lingyu glanced at Sima Yuyue and flew away. At this time, the Sima family stood up from the ground and looked at the calm lake. "What's down there?" Sima Yuyue told him about how she and Old Man Devil guessed that there was a ferocious beast below. She also guessed that the spirit beasts in the 10,000 Beast Mountain were attracted by this ferocious beast. When the Sima family heard this news, they were shocked. However, because they knew what happened on Forgotten Worry Island, they quickly digested this news. If that's the case, then this place should be very dangerous. Sima Yuyang frowned. "Should we change to another place to set up camp or retreat?" "I don't think that's necessary," Sima Yuran said. "Since this place belongs to that fierce beast, it means that this is the center of the array. It should be the safest place." "I agree with Yuran," Sima Yulin said. "It hasn't come out for so many years. It should be fine in the short term." "I feel too lazy to move. Based on what Jade said, it should be over in a few days," Sima Yuyue said. After some discussion, the Sima family decided to stay. They did what they usually did, but they still had some lingering fears. On the second day, the people from Dragon Reflection Town came one after another. They wanted to know what had happened and what had caused the commotion last night. However, when they came to the lakeside, they only saw the Sima family leisurely eating. Nothing? Someone was puzzled. They should be fine. Otherwise, why would they still be here? That aura last night was too scary. It penetrated deep into my soul. Too scary. My heart still trembles when I think about it. My legs are weak too. But why do they look like nothing happened? Could it be that they didn't feel that aura? Why don't you go and ask? Okay, I'll ask. There really were people who went to ask the Sima family. However, they said that they weren't here last night and only came back this morning. They didn't know what had happened. I knew it. If they were also enveloped by that aura, how could they be so relaxed? I still don't know what happened last night. I heard some secret news before. It said that there is a fierce beast in 10,000 Beast Mountain. That aura last night should have come from it. Really? If that's the case, then aren't we all in danger? The aura last night was much stronger than a peak spirit paragon. I think it's at least a divine rank. I don't think it's just that. Someone refuted. I've felt the aura of a sacred beast in West Moon Kingdom's Three Springs City. It's far from the one last night. Could it be stronger than a divine rank? How could our continent have such a strong creature? Who knows? Sigh, let's go back. There's no point in staying here. Sima Yuyue and the rest were eating as they listened to these people talk. They didn't think that someone would actually be right. However, they didn't want to say this out loud, in case they scared these people. Seeing that those people had left, Bei Gong Tang tore off a piece of roasted meat and placed it in her mouth, asking, Yuyue, what happened to you last night? I can see that you're very angry. Sima Yoyue's mood had already calmed down. However, she still fiercely bit down on a chicken wing, hatefully telling them about how she had received the blood ring's acknowledgement. Everyone was speechless. If it was a normal person who encountered this kind of thing, they would wake up laughing. Only she would be so depressed. Wei Ziqi and the rest understood her feelings because they knew that she was used to being lazy. However, they still mocked her. It's very rare to see you so angry like last night. I realized that after meeting your master, you've already gone berserk more than once. He was talking about how Sima Yuyue fought with Wu Lingyu when she met him. At that time, she even bit him, causing everyone to laugh at her for a few days. Sima Yuyue laughed and changed the topic, asking, what has the Nalan clan been doing recently? I haven't seen them jump out. What else can they be doing? They're the same as us, looking for spirit beasts to train in the mountains. Sima Yuyang said, we've met them a few times, but there hasn't been much of a conflict. I heard that the Hua clan will be coming in these 2 days. Sima Yuqing said. She and Sima Yulan would sometimes go to Dragon Reflection Town to look for jade and heard people mention it. Hua clan? When Sima Yuyue heard their name, she thought of the Hua siblings that she had met in Anyang City. At that time, they had ruthlessly slapped each other's faces. Apart from the Hua clan, the other clans will be coming as well. I think they're calculating that the 10,000 Beast Mountain is about to end. Sima Yulan said. Then we. Sima Yuyue had not finished speaking when with a thought, the mother-son stone appeared in her hand, shining with white light. She inserted her spiritual qi into it and Wu Lingyu's voice sounded from inside, the spirit beasts outside have retreated. If there are no accidents, the Great Protective Array will be closed in 2 days. Chapter 295. For the next 2 days, the 10,000 Beast Mountain appeared to be in a state where all the beasts were silent. Whether it was day or night, not to mention half of the spirit beasts, even ordinary animals were nowhere to be seen. There was not even a single bird in the sky. In the holy city, people from all the major powers were sitting in a circle, discussing what had happened in the past 2 days. Every single one of them was a character that could shake the entire Yilin continent. Wu Lingyu was among them as well. He seemed out of place with the group of older people. Although he was very young, no one looked down on him because they knew that he came from the upper realm and was the holy son of the Sage Pavilion. His position was extraordinary and his strength was extraordinary. We haven't seen any spirit beasts in the past 2 days. Are we just going to pass this time? A middle-aged man asked. Judging from his attire, he was one of the vice presidents of the Apothecary Guild. A vice president of the Armament Master Guild said doubtfully, 2 days ago, there was a shocking aura coming from the direction of Dragon Reflection Mountain. It should have been released by the creature trapped below. Could it be that the retreat of the spirit beasts has something to do with it? President Wu, you guys know more about spirit beasts than we do. Do you think we can pass this time? That President Wu was the first vice president of the Beast Tamer Master Guild. When he heard the question, he said with uncertainty, I think he passed. Although I don't know what happened over there 2 days ago, it interfered this time and resolved the crisis of the holy city ahead of time. The gap of 100 years is getting closer and closer, and things are getting longer and longer. I don't know how much longer the sacred city can hold on. Sigh. No matter what, we must guard this place well. This concerns the safety of millions of people. The Temple Lord said righteously. Wu Lingyu sat in his seat without saying a word. He originally didn't want to participate in this kind of meeting, but Sima Yuyu asked him to come after she found out. She wanted to see if she could get any information. Since the spirit beasts are over, can we open the Great City Barrier Array? It's time to open it. The gathering will be held in a few days, and those families will be arriving one after another. I heard that the younger generation of 2 clans have already arrived at Dragon Reflection Mountain. They are from the Nalan family and the Sima family. I heard that the Hua family has also come, but they are being led by the older generation. Since that's the case, let's retract the Great City Barrier Formation. I agree. The Beast Tamers Guild also agrees. The Alchemist Guild agrees. I have no objections. After everyone agreed, they decided to deactivate the Great City Barrier Array after the meeting. This grand meeting will once again determine the status of the major forces. I've heard that quite a few young geniuses have appeared this time. When the time comes, we'll be able to feast our eyes. Someone brought up the topic. I heard that there's a genius alchemist in the Sima family. He's already a 4th grade alchemist at the age of 22. Isn't he more talented than those kids in the Alchemist Guild? I've also heard of this matter, but that child seems to be more than a 4th rank. She competed with Li Mu and completely defeated him. Isn't Li Mu a 4th rank? My guess is that she should be at the 5th rank. A 22-year-old 5th grade alchemist? His talent is even higher than Han Brat's. Not only that, I also heard that Li Mu brought people to help the Nayland family investigate the situation. In the end, they were ruthlessly beaten by her. Vice President Xian, is this true? The vice president, who was the first to speak, had an ugly expression on his face. This matter had greatly lost the Alchemist Guild's face. Now that it was mentioned in front of everyone, he was furious. This matter, when they come back, we'll naturally have to ask them properly. He opened his mouth in an unfriendly manner. Wu Lingyu glanced at Vice President Xian and lightly said, "A few days ago, I went out with my master and happened to pass by Dragon Reflection Mountain. I heard those people say that day, Li Mu brought people to cause trouble for the Sima family. He wanted to ask the Nayland family about the Sima family situation and said that he would leave after winning 3 rounds. However, one of his people was beaten by the Sima family. The Alchemist Guild changed their mind and said that they would change it to a competition of alchemy." When he said this, everyone looked at Vice President Xian with ridicule and asked, "Is it really like this? That Li Mu usually looks quite honest. Who would have thought that he would do this kind of thing?" The person who spoke wanted to say that he was shameless, but on account of the Alchemist Guild's reputation, he swallowed those words. Those are just rumors. As for the specifics, we'll naturally have to wait for them to come back before we know. Vice President Xian felt that he had lost all his face and cursed Li Mu in his heart. He did not have a good impression of the Sima family. Although he never had a good attitude towards the Sima family. At the same time, he did not have a good attitude towards those who spoke. Today, the president did not come and asked him to attend this meeting. He was used as a joke by them and his heart was stifled. He clenched his fists and secretly swore in his heart. After the meeting ended, Saint City's Great Protective Array was closed. Sima Yuyue and the rest received the news immediately and decided to head to Saint City the next day. After what happened 2 days ago, many people felt that it was dangerous and directly left Dragon Reflection Mountain. Therefore, when the Hua family arrived, they were lucky enough to stay in an inn. "You said that Brother Yulin and the rest are here too?" Hua Zijiao looked at her servant and said excitedly. "Young miss, they said that the Sima family arrived a few days ago. Young Master Yulin is definitely among them." Little Peach said. "Really, I'm going to look for him." Hua Zijiao stood up and ran out. "Young miss, wait. I heard that they are not in the town." Little Peach said. "If they are not in the town, then where are they?" "I heard that they did not have a place to stay when they came, so they ran to the small lake outside to set up camp. I'm going to look for him." Hua Zijiao lifted her skirt and ran out. When she opened the door, she bumped into the people outside. "Why are you so rash?" Hua Ziyan looked at his sister and pretended to scold her. Brother Yulin and the rest are here. I'm going to look for them." Hua Zijiao said with a smile. "Wait." Hua Ziyan called out to Hua Zijiao, saying, "I want to look for him too. Let's go together." "Okay, brother, hurry." When Hua Zijiao and Hua Ziyan came to the small lake, they immediately saw Sima Yulin and Sima Yuyu chatting by the lake. The two of them were talking about something, and Sima Yulin's face revealed a shocked expression. Fatty Chu, Wei Ziqi and the rest of the Sima clan members were fishing not too far away. A colorful bird was flying above everyone's heads. When she saw Sima Yu, Hua Zijiao was a little uncomfortable. When she was in Anyang City, she had been severely slapped in the face by Sima Yu and the rest. After that, when she saw a sacred beast by her side, she was even more shocked. She felt like a clown in front of her. However, when she saw the person she liked over there, she still gathered her courage and walked over. Chapter 296. Plus. Hua Ziyan saw the way his sister was acting and sighed in his heart. He walked over and cupped his fist in Sima Yulin's direction, saying, "Brother Yulin. Brother Ziyan? You've come to Dragon Reflection Town as well?" Sima Yulin stood up and returned the greeting. Sima Yu had long since seen Hua Ziyan and Hua Zijiao's arrival. However, because she didn't like Hua Zijiao, she didn't express anything. Hua Ziyan naturally knew that his sister had offended her at that time and knew her position in the Sima family, so he didn't say anything. "I'll go fishing with Ziqi and the others," Sima Yu said as she walked towards Wei Ziqi and the others. She took out a fishing rod and began to fish. Hua Zijiao was very unhappy with Sima Yu's attitude, but because Sima Yulin was present, she didn't say anything. However, she was thinking of finding a chance to teach her a lesson. "Brother Yulin, how long have you been here? What have you been doing these days? Do you want to go back to Dragon Reflection Town with us?" "No need. We're going to Saint City tomorrow. It's no trouble." Sima Yulin declined. "You're going tomorrow? Didn't you say that Saint City has already activated the Great Array? You won't be able to enter even if you go," Hua Zijiao said. "The Great Array will close in a while. However, it's too late today, so we'll leave early tomorrow morning," Sima Yulin said. "How do you know that the Great Array will close?" Hua Zijiao asked curiously. "Yu said it." Hua Zijiao pursed her lips. "You believe what she says?" "She didn't see it." Sima Yulin smiled lightly. "Yu's words have always been accurate." Sima Yu heard her name, but didn't turn her head. She continued to chat with Wei Ziqi and the others. "That annoying woman is here again," Fatty Chu said. "Will she say that we're poor again?" "I don't think so," Wei Ziqi said. "I hope not. Otherwise, we'll have to sell iron pots and pans again," Fatty Chu said. Sima Yu was amused by Fatty Chu's words and laughed. "Pfft, you're obviously selling pills and spirit tools, but you make it sound like you're poor." I caught one. It's a big guy. Fatty, prepare a net for me." It had to be said that they were really bold. They knew that there was something big inside, but they still dared to fish here. They were not afraid that something would happen to them. If it were anyone else, they would have fled long ago. Later in the day, the Holy City closed the Great City Barrier Array, and everyone could enter and leave the Holy City freely. When the news reached Dragon Reflection Mountain, it was already afternoon. When Hua Ziyan heard the news, he looked at Sima Yu with surprise. He always felt that Sima Yu gave him an unfathomable feeling. After knowing that the Holy City was open, the people of Dragon Reflection Mountain all let out a sigh of relief. Then they all became happy because tomorrow everyone can go to the Holy City. In the evening, Li Mu brought the people from the Alchemist Guild out for a stroll. When they came to the lakeside, they saw Jade and Sima Yu together. Walking over, a disciple said, "Miss, the sacred city is about to open. We will return tomorrow morning. Why are you still with these people?" Jade looked at them with a cold expression and said, "Isn't it still early tomorrow? What do I need you to care about what I do now? Senior sister, everyone is worried about your safety. How can you treat everyone like this?" Hong Xia said unhappily. She was obviously trying to sow discord between Jade and everyone. "How did I treat everyone?" When did it become your turn to talk about my matters? Jade looked at Hong Xia. I was too good to you in the past. Have you all forgotten who you are? Senior sister, how can you say that? You weren't like this in the past. Hong Xia was reprimanded and looked at Jade in disbelief. You weren't like this in the past either. Jade faintly glanced at Li Mu and Wu Feng. She seemed to be talking about that competition. Sima Yuyue was squatting on the ground cutting the fish. She raised her head and looked at them, saying, What, are you all planning to stay and let me beat you up? Who wants me to beat you up until your mother doesn't recognize you? Her voice wasn't loud, but it made the people from the Alchemist Guild take a step back. Sima Yuyue, you won't be happy for long. Wait until we reach Saint City. Someone will take care of you. Wu Feng glared fiercely at Sima Yuyue. Still not leaving? Sima Yuyue stood up lazily and looked at the crowd. Junior sister, it's best if you come back. If you follow them, you might not be able to reach Saint City safely. Li Mu said. Can you not worry about me? Jade said with a cold face. Li Mu glanced at her and waved his hand, saying, Let's go. It really affects my appetite. Sima Yuyue squatted down and continued cutting the fish. Suddenly, her nose twitched and a cold light flashed in her eyes. What's wrong? Bei Gong Tang knew that something was wrong the moment she saw her and asked. Sima Yuyue snorted coldly, Someone gave us a big gift. Should we return the favor? What happened? The others heard Sima Yuyue's words and looked over. Sima Yuyue didn't say anything. She only looked at Jade and said, Young Miss Yen, it's getting dark. You should go back to avoid any accidents. Jade wanted to say that she wanted to stay. She was afraid that Li Mu and the others would do something bad to them. However, when she saw Sima Yuyue's expression, she felt that her worries were unnecessary. All right then. I'll go back first. When you go to Saint City and meet the Northern Yanli clan, avoid them if you can. She reminded. After speaking, she bid farewell to Sima Yuqing and the others and left. Sima Yuyue turned around and looked at Sima Yulin. Sima Yulin understood what she meant and said to the Hua siblings, Brother Zi Yan, it's getting late. Why don't you go back first? Since we're going to Saint City tomorrow, we'll meet again tomorrow morning. Although Hua Zi Yan didn't know what had happened, since the other party had already said so, he could only bring Hua Zi Jiao, who kept looking back at him, back to Dragon Reflection Mountain. Once they had all left, Fatty Chu asked, Yu, what's wrong? Smell it. There's a faint fragrance. Sima Yuyue said. Fatty Chu and the Sima family sniffed hard, then shook their heads, saying, I can't smell it. It smells like orchids. It's faintly discernible. You don't have much contact with herbs, so it's normal that you can't smell it. Sima Yuyue said. What's orchids? It's an aphrodisiac that attracts spirit beasts. Furthermore, it only works on divine beasts. Sima Yuyue said, Tonight, there will be many spirit beasts coming to visit us. Then what do we do? Sima Yuqing asked anxiously. Although they had divine beasts, if too many spirit beasts came, they wouldn't be able to handle it. What else can we do? Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. If the spirit beasts come, we can only wait. Sima Yuyue wasn't worried at all. But ever since Li Mu and the others came, we've been guarding against them. We didn't see them do anything. How did you get the orchid fragrance? Chapter 297. This was the question in everyone's mind. Because of the conflict with the Alchemist Guild, they had been on guard ever since Li Mu and the others arrived. Their eyes never left them, so they didn't notice any movements from them. I think they scattered it on their bodies, Sima Yuyue said. But wouldn't they be attacked as well? Sima Yulan didn't understand. But where are they now? Sima Yuyue asked instead of answering. Back to Dragon Reflection Town? Sima Yulan said, then suddenly realized, Dragon Reflection Town has an array. Seeing a large group of spirit beasts attack, the people of Dragon Reflection Town will definitely open the array. They'll be fine inside. Not bad. Sima Yuyue nodded. Tomorrow morning, the orchid fragrance on their bodies will be gone, and they will be able to come out. These alchemists, each and every one of them is too vicious. Sima Yuqing said hatefully. It doesn't matter. We'll return the favor one day. Sima Yuyue sneered. Those who schemed against her should be prepared to be schemed against. Then what do we do now? Sima Yulin frowned. This formation has never been used since it was set up. Tonight, I will show you its power. Sima Yuyue said confidently. He had learned this array from Sima Lin, and it was not any weaker than the defensive array of the Dragon Reflection Mountain. Hearing her say that, the Sima clansmen all relaxed. Sima Yulin looked at her and saw the confident smile on her face. He sighed that she was always able to make people feel at ease and trust her. Therefore, everyone went on as usual, as if they were not affected by this matter. A shadow left the mountain and ran towards Dragon Reflection Mountain. Sima Yuyue looked in that direction with a cold glint in her eyes. In Longtu Town, Li Mu received the news that Sima Yuyue and the rest did not find out about Lan Xiang and were still at the lakeside. Let's see who can save them at night. Li Mu said with a laugh. Red Cloud stood by his side and said, Senior Brother Li, if the younger generation of the Sima family dies, will the Sima family find trouble with us? What are you afraid of? Li Mu said without worry, who will know that we did it? Lan Xiang would be gone by the next morning, and those people would not be able to find any clues even if they wanted to. Besides, could the Sima family be ranked among the first-class forces without the younger generation? Don't forget that we are the Alchemist Union. Who dares to find trouble with us? Senior Brother is right. Wu Feng flattered. Then we'll be waiting for a good show tonight. Red Cloud put aside her worries and said with a smile. Yes, let's inform the mayor first and ask him to prepare to activate the defense array. Otherwise, even we will suffer, Li Mu ordered. Yes, Senior Brother. Someone ran out and went to inform the mayor. However, he naturally wouldn't say that it was because they had sprinkled the orchid fragrance. He only said that they had received news that many of the divine beasts that had besieged the holy city had come here. The mayor was suspicious. Didn't the divine beasts already pass by? Why would they still attack here? However, his suspicions were just suspicions. He still sent people to the mountain to observe the situation outside. Once the divine beasts attacked, they would immediately activate the defense array. At night, Sima Yuyue and the rest were still playing by the lake, allowing Li Mu and the rest who were secretly observing the situation to relax. They were really worried that the Sima family would notice them halfway and retreat to Dragon Reflection Town. If that happened, they would have wasted their efforts today. Sima Yuyue was currently asking Fatty Chu to refine a spirit tool oven for her. The kind that didn't use electricity and only used a spirit tool to activate it. Although Fatty Chu usually looked a little dumb, he had extraordinary talent in the area of armament refining. After Sima Yuyue explained the use of the oven to him, he knew the structure of this kind of oven. Of course, even so, it took him a few days to figure out how to refine the oven. Hence, since he had time today, he fulfilled everyone's request and started refining tools in front of everyone. When the Sima family heard that they could watch him refine tools, they were all extremely excited. However, when they found out that he was refining the oven for Sima Yuyue, they were all dumbfounded. This fellow really deserved a beating. Was his talent supposed to be used like this? Thinking about it was just thinking about it. Everyone still ran over to watch. Sima Yuyue had never seen him refine tools before. Every time, she would tell Fatty Chu what she wanted him to refine and then he would refine it himself and give her the finished product. This was the first time she was looking at it carefully. Suddenly, her gaze turned towards the mountain and she said, "They're here." Everyone knew what she was talking about and they were all on their guard. Roar dash, a wood dash, a group of divine beasts ran down from the mountain under the moonlight. Each of them had a manic look in their eyes. It was obvious that they had been provoked by something. So many. When everyone saw the divine beasts rushing down, they were all stunned. It's fine if they don't come, but when they do, there are so many of them. Everyone was stunned. What's going on? Why are they all coming together? Because the orchid fragrance has the greatest effect at night. During the day, the divine beasts can still control themselves after smelling it. However, at night, they can't control themselves. Sima Yuyus said as she injected spiritual energy into the ground. The array was activated and everyone was trapped inside. When the people sent by the mayor saw the group of divine beasts rushing over, they shouted from the top of the mountain, "The beasts are attacking. Activate the defensive array, the highest grade defensive array." The mayor did not cultivate tonight and had been waiting for the situation outside. When he heard the voice from the top of the mountain, he immediately ordered the spirit masters guarding the array, quickly activate the array. His voice spread to all corners of the town. The 8 spirit masters immediately took action and injected spiritual energy into a rock on the ground. The defensive array was immediately activated and a few directions lit up with a dazzling white light. A layer of ripples lit up the sky and enveloped the entire dragon reflection town. What happened? Is there? Why did the defensive array activate? A large group of divine beasts is attacking. The person on the top of the mountain shouted again to let the people who had just woken up understand what was happening. Many people flew to the top of the mountain to see the situation outside. When they saw the group of divine beasts rushing over, they were all stunned. Heavens, isn't the divine beasts already over? Even if the 10,000 beast mountain isn't safe at night, there shouldn't be so many divine beasts. Oh no, the Sima family is still outside. There's no other way. Once the defensive array is activated, no one can enter or leave. They can't come in now. Then aren't they in danger? Brother Lin and the rest are still outside. Father, save them. Hua Zijiao said anxiously. It's too late. The defensive array has already been activated. Unless the array is closed, even I can't get out. Then what about them? Hua Zijiao cried. They can only leave it to the heavens. There are so many divine beasts outside and many of them are spirit paragons. They definitely won't be able to escape. The people from the Alchemist Guild said eccentrically. This was also what everyone was thinking. No, they will be fine. Look. Someone pointed below and shouted. Chapter 298. The group of divine beasts had already neared Dragon Reflection Mountain, and many people saw them running across the lake towards Dragon Reflection Town. Just when everyone thought that the Sima family would definitely die, a white light shone from the small lake, almost illuminating the entire night. What is that? Someone exclaimed. That's a defensive array. The defense array has surrounded them. Why is there a defense array by the lake? Idiot, since when was there a defense array by the lake? That's the defensive array set up by the Sima family. Isn't that a group of young people? How can he set up a defense array? That's right. There must be a formation master among them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to set up a formation. Did you just find out? Brother Yulin is an array master. Hua Zijiao said proudly. At this moment, there was no longer any worry on her face. With the defense array, they would definitely be able to survive this calamity. That's not right. I know Yulin's array. It's impossible for him to set up such a strong defensive array. Hua Ziyan said as he looked at the bright and eye-catching defensive array below. You're saying that it wasn't set up by Big Brother Yulin? Other than him, who else is an array master? Hua Zijiao asked in disbelief. 2 years ago, I saw him set up an array. It was much worse than this. Hua Ziyan said. It must be because of his rapid progress in the past 2 years. Otherwise, apart from him, who else in the younger generation of the Sima family would have such a high level of cultivation? Perhaps. Hua Ziyan did not continue arguing. Instead, He looked down at the defense array. This spirit beast will usually last for the entire night. This defense array is not about its current effect, but its endurance. If it can't last for the entire night, they will still lose their lives. Wu Feng coldly snorted. That's right. Maybe the formation will be useless in a while. A formation set up by a young man, I'm sure it won't be of much use. An older man said. Everyone was certain that the array formation by the lake would be destroyed very quickly. However, the light did not disappear for the entire night, and all the spirit beasts retreated in the morning. Beside the lake, Sima Yu and the others were initially very nervous and called out their divine beasts to prepare for battle. Only Sima Yu and the others were still calmly refining the oven, not worried at all that the array would be broken by the spirit beasts. It was only until the latter half of the night that everyone felt relieved. This was because the formation was still stable under the attacks of so many spirit beasts. It did not even shake at all. Yu, how is your array so powerful? Sima Yu came over and asked. Fatty Chu's oven was already in its final stages, so there was no need for Sima Yu to tell him how to do it. This formation is the strongest formation that I can set up right now. It has a certain degree of immunity against spirit energy attacks. It's not that the spirit beasts' attacks aren't strong, it's just that they aren't strong enough. All of them were transferred underground by the formation. As long as it's not a divine beast of level 5 or above, it won't cause much harm to it. She explained. Why does this array sound so familiar? Sima Yu said. This is the clan's defensive array. Right now, the Sima residence's defensive array is this. Sima Yulin said from the side. What? Sima Yang's eyes widened. This is the clan's protective array? You even know how to do this? Grandpa Lin taught me. Sima Yu was rather surprised as well. When Sima Lin taught her this array, he did not say that it was the clan's protective array. He only said that it was a very strong defensive array. However, I can only set up this kind of array right now. If the area is too big, it won't be of much use. Even if it's like this, it's still very powerful. Sima Yu looked at Sima Yu in admiration, saying, Yu, you're really my idol. Idol, I'm going to vomit on you. Don't ever say that to me again. Sima Yu continued to watch Fatty Chu refine tools after she finished speaking. Seeing how Fatty Chu was sweating profusely, she could not help but sigh. It was no wonder that alchemists were rarer than armament masters. If you didn't have any strength, you wouldn't be able to do this job. Outside the array, the spirit beasts attacked the array restlessly. However, Sima Yu and the others inside were not anxious at all. On the second morning, they watched as the array was still standing by the lake. Alright, the beast wave has finally dispersed. Sima Yu said. Although they believed in Sima Yu's abilities, they still maintained their vigilance. If the array was broken, they would be able to react immediately. Sima Yu closed the array and the people standing on Dragon Reflection Mountain were able to see what was happening inside. Is he refining tools? The people on the mountain top saw Fatty Chu refining tools calmly and their eyes widened. There are still people eating over there. Wei Ziqi, Sima Yuming and the others were sitting in front of the table eating breakfast. That calm look did not look like they had been attacked by divine beasts for an entire night. The Sima family is really carefree. Someone sighed. I told you that Big Brother Yulin's array would be fine. Hua Zijiao said as she looked over at Li Mu and the others. Yulin's array has indeed improved greatly. Hua Ziyan's father said. That's right. I think that this child, Yulin, will walk very far on the path of arrays. That's right, the Sima family will have another array master in the future. Sima Lin is really lucky to have this kind of grandson. The Hua family was full of praise for Sima Yulin. The younger generation was full of admiration for him. Even the people on Dragon Reflection Mountain were full of praise. Only Jade knew that this array was not set up by Sima Yulin at all. It was set up by Sima Yue, the person who was also talented in alchemy. At first, she did not think much of Sima Yoyu as a ray. After all, her age was in front of everyone. She was also very accomplished in alchemy, so she thought that her time and energy should be devoted to alchemy. However, she never thought that Sima Yoyu as a ray would be comparable to Dragon Reflection Mountain's array. Last night, she had been paying attention to the situation below. She realized that Dragon Reflection Mountain's array shook a few times, but Sima Yoyue's array continued to shine. How could she not be shocked? No wonder they call her a monster, a demon. Beside the lake, Fatty Chu finished refining the furnace and handed it to Sima Yoyue, saying, "Take a look and see if it works." Sima Yoyue looked at Fatty Chu, who had been busy the entire afternoon and night, and took out some spirit fruits for him, saying, "It's been hard on you. I didn't realize it before, but now I know that refining tools is so difficult. Take a look and see if it works." It was Fatty Chu's first time refining something like this, so there was no guarantee that it would work. Sima Yoyue kept the furnace in her interspatial ring, saying, "We'll see when we get back. I'm going to keep the array now. Let's go to Saint City." She went to keep the array stones, and saw that many of them had already cracked. She shook her head and sighed. It's a good thing that the spirit beasts have already retreated. Otherwise, this array would not be able to hold on for much longer. She kept all the array stones, and the Sima family tidied up their tents. At this time, a group of people walked over from Dragon Reflection Town. Chapter 299. Sima Yuyang and the others saw the people who walked over and their eyes flashed. However, they still brought their men to greet them. "Greetings to Grandpa Hua and all the seniors," he said. Hua Jingxing, Hua Ziyan and the others' grandfather, the current head of the Hua clan, extended a hand to support him, saying, "Yuyang, were you injured last night?" "Grandpa Hua, we're fine. We're not injured," Sima Yuyang replied with a smile. "When we found out about what happened last night, the town's protective array had already been activated. Although we are spirit paragons, we can't enter and exit the array as we wish. We didn't take care of you. Please don't take it to heart," Hua Jingxing said. "Thank you for your concern, Grandpa Hua. We've caused you to worry. We're very safe in the array," Sima Yuyang replied politely. "Has the array been retracted?" "Yes, because we're going to Saint City in a while, we've retracted the array. Yulin, your array skills have improved by quite a bit. You're actually able to set up such a powerful array this time. Your future is limitless." Sima Yulin's expression was a little unnatural, saying, "This array wasn't set up by me." "Not you? Then who is it?" The Hua clansmen swept their eyes over the Sima clan in shock, wanting to see whose array skills were better than Sima Yulin's. "It's Yu, Sima Yulin said. "Who is Sima Yu?" Sima Yu was standing at the back of the crowd. Initially, she was still lamenting that this guy, Sima Yuyang, didn't seem to be a proper person. Now that he was interacting with the Hua clansmen, he seemed to be a proper person. When she suddenly heard them mention her name, she lowered her head and muttered a few words. However, no matter what, she still stood out and bowed to Hua Jingxing, saying, "This junior greets Hua Jingxing, you're Sima Yu? Was that array set up by you?" When Hua Jingxing saw Sima Yu, he finally remembered that Sima Yu had caused a ruckus in the Sima clan. "That's this junior," Sima Yu replied. "I didn't expect you to be so talented. You've achieved so much at such a young age." Hua Jingxing nodded in approval when he saw that Sima Yu was neither arrogant nor rash. Hua Ziyan and Hua Zijiao looked at Sima Yu in shock. Her array was even more powerful than Sima Yulin's. What kind of monster was she? No wonder he was able to work together with those alchemists, blacksmiths, and beast tamers. "I heard that you have a few friends by your side. They are all alchemists, artifact refiners, and beast tamers. Are they still with you?" Hua Jingxing asked with a smile. Sima Yu was stunned. 2 years ago, they had humiliated Miss Hua in the Shenyuan pavilion. Was this old man going to settle accounts with them? Seeing her uncertain expression, Hua Jingxing laughed and said, "We just want to see what the young geniuses group is like. We don't have any other intentions." Sima Yue stared at Hua Jingxing and felt that he didn't seem like the kind of person who would bully the weak. She nodded her head and looked behind her, saying, "Zi Qi, Bei Gong, Fatty, come and meet Grandpa Hua." Wei Zi Qi and the other two walked over, saying, "Greetings, Grandpa Hua. You are all talented and talented." Hua Jingxing praised, "Why is there one person missing?" "Ouyang hasn't come yet." Sima Yue replied. "He left you to come here?" Someone from the Hua clan asked. "No, he is still in the South Eclipse Kingdom to settle some things," Sima Yue said. "On the way here, we found out about the changes in the South Eclipse Kingdom. The royal family happens to be surnamed Ouyang. Could it be that your friend is the former crown prince who returned?" Hua Jingxing asked. Sima Yue muttered, "Why are you still asking when you already know?" However, she still replied respectfully, "That's right." As she spoke, she glanced at Sima Yuyang. The latter immediately understood what she meant and said, "Grandpa Hua, we are planning to rush to Saint City. Do you want to come?" "Okay, we are planning to go there as well." "Why don't we go together?" Hua Jingxing said. The reason they came over was to go to the holy city with them. Because the latter part of the journey was a bit longer than the previous one, and it was also a bit more dangerous, the Hua clan and the Sima clan could be considered old friends, so they planned to bring them along. The Hua clan took out their divine flying beast and the Sima clan followed along. They set off in the morning and only reached Saint City in the evening. When they reached Saint City, the Hua clan and the Sima clan separated and went to their own houses. Saint City did not allow flying, so everyone called out their contracted beasts and ran for half an hour before they reached the Sima clan's house. "Young masters and young misses, you are finally here." The steward of the Sima clan's house saw Sima Yuyang and the others and bowed. "I heard that you have been outside Dragon Reflection Town for the past few days. Did anything happen?" "Uncle Ren, we are fine." This was the steward that the Sima clan had transferred over. Sima Yuyang and the others knew him before. "The houses have already been tidied up. Everyone can rest first. Tomorrow, we can walk around the city. Master and the others will be here in 2 days." Sima Ren said. "Okay, sorry to trouble Uncle Ren," Sima Yuyang said. After that, he said to the disciples of the Sima clan, "Everyone can rest tonight. If you want to go out tomorrow, you can walk around together." "Uncle Ren, why can't people who are not 20 years old enter Saint City?" a disciple of the Sima clan asked. It was because of this reason that they had never been here before. As for those who were in their 20s, they had never had the time or opportunity to come here. This is a rule that has been passed down since long ago. "We don't know the reason either," Uncle Ren said as he led the way. "If those who are not 20 years old can't come in, then what about those who grew up here?" Sima Yu asked curiously. "Hee, we don't know either," Uncle Ren said with a smile. "Could it be that age discrimination exists?" Fatty Chu sighed. After resting in the Sima clan for a night, everyone went out together on the second day. Even Sima Yu Ming and the 4 brothers came early in the morning to look for Sima Yu and brought her out with Fatty Chu and the others. Saint City looked similar to other cities. It was divided into East, West, North, South and Central districts. The Central district was a business district, while the other 4 districts were living areas. There were various clans that had developed in the past. Only the Alchemist Guild, the Armament Master Guild and the Sage Pavilion could be stationed in the Central district. "This place is so big." Sima Yu and the others sat on the beast carriage that Sima Ren had prepared. They were heading towards the Central district. "I heard that there are many treasures that can be traded in Saint City. Many people get spirit treasures from 10,000 Beast Mountain, or they get things that can't be seen in the world outside. They all come here to trade." Sima Yuran told them what he had heard. Why? Fatty Chu's eyes widened. Then isn't this a paradise for robbers? They take things from outside and sell them here. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.